Chapter 28-29. The first round of seizing islands ended. Those who did not manage to obtain an island were all swept away by the waves and eliminated from the test. Although those who did not manage to obtain an island were swept away by the waves, no one relaxed. This was because they knew that the cruelest battle had just begun. The islands flowed backwards. If no one wanted to return to the upstream region, they would have to fight for the islands in front. As everyone waited anxiously, the islands began to flow backwards towards the upstream region. When they realized that the islands were flowing backwards, those who occupied the islands at the back looked towards the islands in front. Those who occupied the islands at the front also raised their guard. It was as though someone was fighting for their islands. In an instant, the atmosphere in the tranquil water region became heavy and solemn. The islands are flowing backwards. Sensing that the islands were moving, Emo Qinyun stopped cultivating and looked towards the islands in front of him. His islands were at the back. In the last 15 minutes, he would have to retreat to the upstream region. Hence, he had to fight for an island in front of him within 15 minutes. While Emo Qinyun was observing the islands in front of him, Duan Yueheng stopped cultivating and looked at him coldly. Sensing Duan Yueheng's gaze, Emo Qinyun raised his guard and looked towards him. Seeing that Emo Qinyun was looking at him, Duan Yueheng smiled proudly and said coldly, "Emo Qinyun, you made use of the space expansion law to force me to stay away. However, I don't believe that you will sit by and do nothing when I attack your sect members." After Duan Yueheng finished speaking, he flew towards Zhang Junfei and the rest. He wanted to use their safety to force Emo Qinyun to fight with him. Seeing Duan Yueheng's actions, Sun Jie smiled coldly and said, "Brother Duan, I am very familiar with the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. I know all their disciples. I will guide you now." "All right." Hearing Sun Jie's words, Duan Yueheng nodded in response. Then Sun Jie pointed out Zhang Junfei and the rest and asked Duan Yueheng to deal with them. "Sun Jie, you despicable person. Junior brother Mo, ignore us. That's right. As long as you are not eliminated, we can still enter Goof Fan Blessed Land." Worried that Emo Qinyun would fall into their trap, Zhang Junfei and the others hurriedly tried to persuade him. Emo Qinyun's eyes turned cold when he heard what Zhang Junfei and the others had said. He said, "Duan Yueheng, San Jie, Duan Yeyun, all of you have done very well. I like to see who will lose out by exchanging the disciples of my sect for your disciples." The moment Emo Qinyun's words left his mouth, he radiated killing intent as he stared at the others. "Senior brothers, help me point out the people from the 3 sections. I will clear them out one by one." Since Emo Qinyun had made his decision, he would not back down. He immediately instructed Zhang Junfei. Hearing Emo Qinyun's words, Zhang Junfei was delighted and immediately pointed out the people from the 3 sects to Emo Qinyun. It did not take long for the members of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace, Leaping Crane War Devil sect, and Dao Ruins Saints sect to be found. Very good. After learning about the disciples from the 3 sects, Emo Qinyun grinned and charged toward one of them. When Emo Qinyun arrived in front of the person, he did not waste his breath and directly slashed out with his sword. Passage of time, time acceleration, spatial compression, spatial shackle, defense ignore. A sword ray was slashed out. Several types of energy from the law were added to it, raising its might to the limit. Following that, the sword ray flashed and instantly blasted the person away. With a single slash, a disciple from the Dao Ruins Saints sect was crippled and sent flying from the island. Upon seeing this, the expressions of the people in the surroundings trembled, and a chill ran down their spines. Emo Qinyun's revenge was too terrifying. "Emo Qinyun, don't you dare!" Sun Jie shouted angrily when he saw Emo Qinyun's actions and charged toward Emo Qinyun. Sun Jie's figure flashed a few times before he arrived in front of Emo Qinyun and clawed at Emo Qinyun. Valsol in Devil Claw. Transparent, ghostly figures appeared around Emo Qinyun and waved their claws at Emo Qinyun. When he saw these figures attacking, Emo Qinyun did not retreat. Instead, he slashed out with his sword at them. Bang! 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 Under the attack of the sword ray, the transparent, ghostly figures were instantly blasted apart. After blasting apart the ghostly figures that were attacking him, Mo Qingyun's attack did not slow down. He continued to charge towards Sun Jie and said, "Humph. Daoist Xiangmi helped you escape with your life last time. Since you don't cherish it, I'll have no choice but to take your life." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he also slashed out with his sword and slashed out a sword ray at Sun Jie. When Mo Qingyun slashed out the sword ray, he also released the spatial shackle law to restrict Sun Jie's movements. When Sun Jie saw his space being shackled, he immediately panicked and felt a sense of fear. He was very clear about Mo Qingyun's ruthlessness and decisiveness. Since Mo Qingyun said that he was going to kill him today, then he absolutely would not change it. When Sun Jie thought up to here, he was unable to maintain his calm. He hurriedly begged Duan Yueheng for help. "Brother Duan, quickly save me. Mo Qingyun, you stop for me." Hearing Sun Jie's cry for help, Duan Yueheng did not hesitate and immediately made a move to save him. After berating Mo Qingyun, Duan Yueheng's figure flashed and chased after Mo Qingyun. "You can't save him." Seeing Duan Yueheng approach, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he slapped a palm over at him. Immediately, a tyrannical spatial expansion law enveloped Duan Yueheng. Under the impact of spatial expansion law, Duan Yueheng was immediately blasted flying, unable to approach Mo Qingyun in the slightest. Duan Yueheng was blasted back domineeringly. Sun Jie was immediately stunned, his entire heart thoroughly chilled. Without Duan Yueheng's help, with his bit of strength, he was not Mo Qingyun's match at all. Forcing Duan Yueheng back with one palm, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate anymore, brandishing his sword and slashing down at Sun Jie. Following that, Sun Jie saw a sword light descend toward him, slamming into his body domineeringly. Bang! Suffering the bombardment of the sword light, Sun Jie was immediately blasted flying, his physical body instantly destroyed. Sun Jie lost his physical body. His primordial spirit immediately escaped, preparing to rush into the river. In his view, losing the qualification to take the test was better than dying at Mo Qingyun's hands. "I said that I'm going to take your dog life. You can't escape today either." Seeing Sun Jie's action, Mo Qingyun laughed coldly and slapped a palm out at him. Following that, a tyrannical spatial expansion law enveloped Sun Jie's primordial spirit. Shortly after, Sun Jie's primordial spirit was blasted flying, almost scattered by the spatial expansion law. After blasting Sun Jie's primordial spirit back, Mo Qingyun's figure moved, continuing to chase after him. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered a few times, arriving in front of Sun Jie's primordial spirit, brandishing his sword and slashing down at him. With a flash of sword light, the sword light hit Sun Jie's primordial spirit, directly scattering it. Following that, Sun Jie's primordial spirit's eyes widened, dissipating with intense unwillingness. He really did not expect that he would ultimately die at Mo Qingyun's hands one day. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the surrounding people were stunned. In the previous Star Field Battle Brilliance, there had never been anyone who killed in the Tranquil Water District. Chapter 28:30. This fellow is so ruthless. He actually killed Sun Jie. This fellow is ruthless. Sun Jie won't be the last one. Even a rabbit will kill when it's anxious, let alone a ferocious tiger. Duan Yueheng has a grudge with someone. If he can't kill him, he'll definitely have a headache. When the crowd saw Mo Qingyun's actions, they began to discuss softly at the side. When the crowd was discussing Mo Qingyun, Helian Linsu revealed a disdainful expression. He looked at Duan Yueheng and said, "Duan Yueheng, you've been picking on Mo Qingyun. I hope you won't follow in Sun Jie's footsteps." Duan Yuehen's expression twitched when he heard Helian Linsu's words. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He had once again witnessed Mo Qingyun's ruthlessness and overbearingness. It made him shudder even though it wasn't cold. If Mo Qingyun wanted to deal with him, He wasn't confident he could fight against Mo Qingyun. Brat, you're courting death. Duan Yeun gnashed his teeth in anger when he saw Mo Qingyun killing Sun Jie. Mo Qingyun had actually killed Sun Jie under his attack. This was a slap to his face. The first one, Mo Qingyun wasn't afraid of Duan Yueheng's anger at all. He looked at the others. When the disciples of the three great sects sensed Mo Qingyun's gaze, their faces turned pale and their bodies began to tremble. Sun Jie's strength wasn't inferior to theirs. Since Mo Qingyun could kill Sun Jie in an instant, he could also kill them in an instant. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to die. Under the immense pressure, a disciple of the Dao Ruined Saints sect directly abandoned the island and jumped into the river. In his opinion, he would only be eliminated if he jumped into the river. If he was attacked by Mo Qingyun, he would be killed. He was very clear about which was more important between the two of them. The people around him didn't laugh at the disciple's action. Instead, there was only a trace of helplessness and heaviness. The second one is you. Mo Qingyun scanned the surroundings, and his gaze landed on Duan Yeun. He emitted a strong killing intent and said, Duan Yeun, last time at the Star Domain Tea Party, I didn't bicker with you on account of Miss Hulian's face, but you've opposed me time and time again. It seems that I have no way of keeping you alive. As Mo Qingyun's words faded, his figure flashed as he charged towards Duan Yeun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Duan Yeun panicked and immediately asked Duan Yueheng for help. Brother Duan, please lend me a hand. Let's join hands and kill this brat. All right. Hearing Duan Yeun's request for help, Duan Yueheng nodded and immediately flew towards him. Seeing Duan Yueheng's action, Helian Linsu's beautiful figure flashed. She arrived in front of Duan Yueheng and said, Duan Yueheng, this is their business. If you want to interfere, you have to get through me first. Under Helian Linsu's obstruction, Duan Yueheng's figure was stopped in midair. Seeing Duan Yueheng being stopped, Duan Yeun's face twitched. He revealed an intense expression of fear and said, Helian Linsu, you've gone too far. Why are you doing this? Hearing Duan Yeun's question, Helian Linsu looked at him with disdain and said, Duan Yeun, when you stopped me just now, why didn't you think of this? Duan Yeun was speechless. He couldn't refute Helian Linsu. If he hadn't stopped her just now, Helian Linsu would have helped Mo Qingyun and relieved the pressure on Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Duan Yeun was speechless, Helian Linsu didn't stop talking and said, Since you can stop me, I can also stop Duan Yueheng and prevent him from helping you. Miss Helian, many thanks. Seeing Helian Linsu's action, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands and stared at her, saying, Help me stop Duan Yueheng for 10 breaths. I will kill Duan Yeun within 10 breaths. Kill Duan Yeun within 10 breaths. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people were stunned. Duan Yeun's reputation was still very resounding in the demonic Dao sections. Mo Qingyun said that he could kill him within 10 breaths. These words were a little boastful. This brat's tone is really big. Even if Duan Yueheng makes a move, he can't kill Duan Yeun within 10 breaths. Who cares so much? Anyway, there's a good show to watch. No matter whether he can kill Duan Yeun or not, him saying this now is enough to disgust Duan Yeun. Everyone began to discuss among themselves. However, listening carefully, one would discover that they did not believe Mo Qingyun. Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, continuing to close in on Duan Yeun. Gate of time. On the way to Duan Yeun, Mo Qingyun urged the gate of time, increasing his comprehension of time law. Before long, a light gate emitting a mysterious power appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. When this light gate condensed out, it sank into Mo Qingyun's body, increasing his comprehension of time law. Time stop law. As the gate of time merged into the body, the comprehension of time law power was digested by Mo Qingyun. Obtaining time ban law, a cold smile appeared at the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth, and he said, Looks like if I want to kill you, I don't even need 10 breaths. Spatial compression, time acceleration. Under the blessing of two kinds of laws, Mo Qingyun's movement speed immediately reached the extreme, only to see Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, chasing the fleeing Duan Yeyun, stabbing towards him with a sword. Eternal time, ignore defense, spatial imprisonment, spatial penetration, time ban. Mo Qingyun's sword arrived here. He displayed several kinds of laws, augmenting the sword light. Following that, the power of Mo Qingyun's sword was raised to the extreme. As for Duan Yeyun in front, under the power of several kinds of laws, his movements immediately stopped. Following that, Duan Yeyun opened his eyes wide, looking at the sword light approaching with a look of horror. Puchi! The sword light flashed past, directly penetrating Duan Yeyun's head, killing his primordial spirit. Immediately, Duan Yeyun's wide eyes became empty and lifeless. One sword, just one sword, Mo Qingyun killed Duan Yeyun. Seeing such a scene, the surroundings immediately quieted down. At this moment, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. Mo Qingyun's combat strength was too terrifying. Powerful, the present Duan Yeyun's genius was actually not a match for his sword. I didn't expect that in the exchange just now, he actually concealed his strength. This guy is too cunning, directly tricking Duan Yeyun. Duan Yeyun didn't die in grievance. This is because the difference in strength between the two is too great. That's right, I sensed two kinds of time laws from Mo Qingyun's body just now. He's only at the universe realm cultivation, actually comprehended two kinds of time laws, really terrifying. Learning about Mo Qingyun's situation, everyone exclaimed in admiration again. Under everyone's awe-inspiring gazes, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, arriving at Helian Linsu's side, and said, "Miss Helian, thank you for stopping him for me. Leave the rest to me." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Helian Linsu did not say much either, directly turning around and leaving. Chapter 28:31. Aren't you going to continue running? Duan Yueheng sneered as he looked at Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, it didn't matter if Duan Yeyun and Sun Jie were dead or alive. He only wanted Mo Qingyun to fight him head-on. Only in a head-on battle would he have a chance to kill Mo Qingyun. Don't be too smug. A head-on battle isn't a good thing for you. Mo Qingyun shook his head and expressed his thoughts when he heard Duan Yueheng's words. Duan Yueheng's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He shouted, "Humph! Don't think that you can contend with me just because you killed Sun Jie and Duan Yeyun. I've been dealing with you for so long, but you don't seem to be able to do anything to me." Mo Qingyun rebutted Duan Yueheng's angry words. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer wasted his breath and immediately attacked Duan Yueheng. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed as he rushed towards Duan Yueheng and stabbed his sword. With a flash of sword light, a ray of sword light cut across the sky and bombarded Duan Yueheng. When the ray of sword light struck, waves of nomological power enveloped Duan Yueheng's body. Duan Yueheng's ability to move was greatly restricted when he was enveloped by the nomological power. Time acceleration and time prohibition. Duan Yueheng's expression changed when he saw his situation. He was shocked and said, "I didn't expect this kid to have such a trump card. I underestimated him." While Duan Yueheng was shocked, he also activated the time nomological power to dissolve the two nomological powers on his body. Soon, he broke through the time nomological power on Duan Yueheng's body. When Duan Yueheng broke through the nomological power, the ray of sword light arrived in front of him and slashed towards his head. Duan Yueheng trembled when he saw the ray of sword light in front of him. Panic flashed across his eyes. He knew very well that if he was hit by the sword, he would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. At that time, it would be impossible for him to suppress Mo Qingyun. When Duan Yueheng thought of this, he hesitated and immediately retreated. Although Duan Yueheng tried his best to retreat, the speed of the sword light was too fast, and it still hit him. Puchi, under the attack of the sword light, a hideous wound appeared on Yueheng's left thigh. Seeing that Duan Yueheng was injured, the surrounding onlookers were all stunned. Duan Yueheng was injured. Is Mo Qingyun going to kill him as well? That's a bit difficult. After all, breaking Yueheng isn't like Sun and Jie. No matter what, after this trial is over, Mo Qingyun's name will spread far and wide. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone's evaluation of him rose another level. Under the crowd's discussion, Mo Qingyun moved again and chased after Duan Yueheng. In the face of Mo Qingyun's attack, Duan Yueheng's face darkened and a strong sense of anger arose within him. He had been cultivating for so long, and he had always been the one to crush others at the same cultivation level. But now, a person with a lower cultivation than him had actually suppressed him in such a domineering manner. This psychological difference made him feel very uncomfortable. For a moment, he was unable to accept this fact and refused to believe that it was true. In the ancient Brahmin star zone, there was actually someone with a higher cultivation talent than him. Kid, you've gone too far. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was attacking again, Duan Yueheng was so angry that he gritted his teeth and started to fight back. As soon as Duan Yueheng finished his words, he quickly formed a strange hand seal with both hands. 5 mountain sky moving seal. Once the seal was formed, it emitted a terrifying aura and suppressed Mo Qingyun. Then, the crowd saw a huge hand seal traversing the river of time. Facing the attack of the huge hand seal, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately swung his sword and slashed at it. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, a powerful sword light blasted toward the huge hand seal. Soon, the crowd saw the sword light hit the hand seal and let out a loud bang. When a loud bang was heard, the sword light was overbearingly dispersed. Even so, palm shadow Mo Qingyun's attacks did not weaken by much. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold, and he swung his sword at Duan Yueheng again. Soon, another sword ray with an imposing aura blasted onto the giant handprint domineeringly. After being attacked by the sword light again, the power of the huge hand seal immediately weakened. I can't go on like this. Being passive is disadvantageous to me. Seeing the power of Duan Yueheng's hand seal, Mo Qingyun thought of a way to defeat him. He said, "Given my current situation, the best choice is to take the initiative and attack directly." When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he did not hesitate and attacked Duan Yueheng again. Mo Qingyun's body flashed a few times, and he was in front of Duan Yueheng. He swung his sword wildly at him. "Humph! You want to take me head-on? You are still too inexperienced." Duan Yueheng was not afraid of Mo Qingyun's attack, and a cold smile appeared on his face. This was the kind of situation he liked the most. However, just as Duan Yueheng said that, his smile froze. When Mo Qingyun attacked, he gave up on defending and was willing to exchange his life for Duan Yueheng's. "You are a lunatic." After knowing Mo Qingyun's intention, Duan Yueheng's eyelids twitched and he panicked. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's reputation was worthless. However, it was different for him. If he lost, the loss would be too great. Firstly, his reputation would be affected. Secondly, his sect would also be affected. Immediately, Duan Yueheng started to dodge frantically and did not fight Mo Qingyun head-on. "Didn't you say that you wanted to fight me head-on? Why are you admitting defeat now?" Seeing that Duan Yueheng chose to retreat, Mo Qingyun sneered and continued to attack crazily. Mo Qingyun felt that as long as he could maintain this situation, he would definitely win. In the following time, Mo Qingyun attacked crazily and suppressed Duan Yueheng. Seeing such a scene, the crowd was in disbelief. If they did not see it with their own eyes, they would have thought that it was fabricated. At this moment, under the crowd's shocked gaze, the storm slowly dissipated. This was a sign that the assessment was about to end. Seeing such a situation, Duan Yueheng immediately ran forward and said, "Kid, the second round of assessment is about to end. You don't want to see your sect's results being too bad, right?" Hearing Duan Yueheng's words, Mo Qingyun's face darkened and he rushed to the first island. When he arrived at the first island, he threw out a palm strike and sent the person who occupied the island flying. After sending the person flying, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared on the island. Chapter 2832. Seeing that the first island had been occupied by Mo Qingyun, Duan Yueheng was anxious. He had not expected that Mo Qingyun would move so quickly and occupy the first island in an instant. "Get lost, kid. The first island is mine." Duan Yueheng roared and charged at Mo Qingyun in a frenzy to compete with him for the first island. Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly at Duan Yueheng's attack and said, "I actually occupied the first island. Don't even think about getting it. Get lost." Space expansion. Mo Qingyun blasted out a palm, and a domineering and mysterious power of laws formed in front of him. When the power of laws formed, Duan Yueheng collided with it and was instantly sent flying. After being sent flying by the space expansion, Duan Yueheng's face was as black as ink, and he gritted his teeth in anger. Mo Qingyun's space expansion really gave him a headache. Damn guy. He actually mastered this kind of law. After being sent flying by the space expansion, Duan Yueheng gritted his teeth in anger and charged at Mo Qingyun again. Duan Yueheng's figure flashed and arrived near the island to attack Mo Qingyun. Facing Duan Yueheng's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He casually waved the nine-bull divine sword to block. When Mo Qingyun waved the sword, he also released the space expansion to drive Duan Yueheng away. For a moment, the battle between Mo Qingyun and Duan Yueheng entered a stalemate. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that the situation was getting worse for Duan Yueheng. Judging from the current situation, the remaining time was getting shorter and Duan Yueheng's situation was getting worse. If he did not seize the first island at the last moment, he might not even occupy an island. As time continued to pass, Duan Yueheng's expression became more and more tense. In his anxiety and worry, Duan Yueheng's attacks began to become more and more disorderly. "Your heart is already in a mess. I advise you to give up." Seeing Duan Yueheng's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and tried to persuade Duan Yueheng. Mo Qingyun's persuasion originally had good intentions, but when it fell into Duan Yueheng's ears, it became a kind of mockery. In Duan Yueheng's opinion, Mo Qingyun's words were mocking his incompetence. "It's impossible for me to give up." Duan Yueheng let out a furious roar. The aura that he emitted immediately soared. This was the aura of a late-stage Eternal Realm expert. He had begun to use his full strength. As Duan Yueheng's aura grew stronger, his attacks also became stronger rapidly. Even so, Mo Qingyun was still as steady as Mount Tai, easily blocking his attack. This brat's weapon can actually break through the laws. It's too disadvantageous to fight against him. After fighting with Mo Qingyun for a while, Duan Yueheng realized the reason. He gritted his teeth in anger. His laws weren't working, so he couldn't unleash his full strength during the exchange with Mo Qingyun. "Brat, I was careless this time. I will deal with you after we enter the Gufan blessed land." After understanding the current situation, Duan Yueheng chose to retreat and stop fighting for the first island. As soon as Duan Yueheng said that, he rushed towards the second island and prepared to attack the people there. When he saw Duan Yueheng's actions, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up into a mocking smile. "You can attack whenever you want, but you can stop whenever you want. How can it be such a good thing? Let me tell you clearly now. Don't even think about occupying a single island." Space expansion. As soon as Mo Qingyun said that, he attacked Duan Yueheng and forced him away from the second island. Due to Mo Qingyun's nomological power, Duan Yueheng couldn't approach the second island. He immediately gritted his teeth and said, "Mo Qingyun, don't go too far. This won't do you any good." As for Duan Yueheng's anger, Mo Qingyun chose to ignore it and attacked him without showing any signs of weakness. Subsequently, under Mo Qingyun's continuous attacks, Duan Yueheng couldn't get close to any island. When such a situation occurred, Duan Yueheng was furious. "You forced me to do this." Seeing that he couldn't fight for the other islands, Duan Yueheng roared and rushed towards the first island. Just then, the waves calmed down completely, and a mysterious power descended upon them. When the force descended, It landed on Mo Qingyun and the rest and brought them to another space. As for Duan Yueheng, who didn't occupy an island, he was kicked out of the Starry Sky River. No, seeing such a situation, Duan Yueheng was so angry that he vomited blood and roared furiously. He couldn't accept such an outcome. Outside the Starry Sky River, swoosh, a figure flashed by and appeared in front of everyone. When they saw the figure clearly, everyone's eyes widened and they thought they were seeing things. That's right. The figure that appeared was Duan Yueheng, who was eliminated. With Duan Yueheng's strength, how could he be eliminated? There must be a mistake somewhere. With Duan Yueheng's strength, who could be his opponent? You're wrong. There's someone who hasn't been at a disadvantage when fighting with him. You're saying that the person who eliminated Duan Yueheng is Mo Qingyun. It should be him. Seeing that Duan Yueheng was eliminated, the crowd started whispering. Just as the crowd was whispering, the palace master of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace came to Duan Yueheng and asked, Yueheng, what happened in the Starry Sky River? Why were you eliminated? It's him. It's all because of him. Hearing the palace master's question, Duan Yueheng gnashed his teeth in anger and roared. It's all because of Mo Qingyun of the Supreme Harmony Devil Sect. He's always going against me, causing me to be unable to seize the island. After hearing Duan Yueheng's explanation, everyone turned around and looked at the people from Supreme Harmony Demon Sect. Supreme Harmony Demon Sect is in trouble. They actually offended the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace. I wonder how Supreme Harmony Demon Sect will deal with this. Will they hand Mo Qingyun over? I don't think so. According to Duan Yueheng's explanation, Mo Qingyun's innate talent is extremely terrifying. When the crowd saw this, they gloated and waited for the two sects to fight. While everyone was waiting to watch a show, Duan Yueheng didn't stop speaking and continued. Moreover, Mo Qingyun even successively killed the Dao Ruins Divine Sect Sun Jie and the Jubilant Battle Devil Sects Duan Yeyun in Calmwater District. Whoosh! Duan Yueheng's words caused an uproar in the surroundings. One had to admit that Duan Yueheng's words shocked everyone. Sun Jie was the young sect master of Dao Ruins Saint Sect, while Duan Yeyun was the #1 genius of Exalted Battle Devil Sect and the future successor of the sect master. The successors of these two sects had died in Mo Qingyun's hands. This was simply a huge grudge. As a result, Mo Qingyun had offended 3 great sects in one go. When the crowd thought of this, they looked at the people from Supreme Harmony Demon Sect with sympathy. Chapter 28:33. This Mo Qingyun is really too bold. Under the scrutiny of the 3 major sects, Shun Liang's old face tensed up and his brows furrowed tightly. If the 3 sects went crazy and attacked them, they would definitely not be able to withstand it. Shun Liang muttered to himself for a moment, calming the panic in his heart. Then he spoke in a righteous manner. There are always casualties in the Gu Fan trial. Can anyone guarantee that the disciples from your own sect will not kill disciples from other sects during the Gu Fan trial? Faced with Shun Liang's question, the people from the 3 sects were speechless. They felt that they were in the wrong, especially the palace master of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace. His expression was the most unnatural. This was because the disciples of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace often killed the disciples of other sects during the Gu Fan trial. Due to the strength of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace, although others were dissatisfied, they did not dare to show it. Elder Xinliang is right. This is indeed too unfair. That's right. Why can their disciples kill other sects' disciples, but others can't? Because they are strong. We have to be patient. It's not because they are strong, but because we are not united. That's why we are being bullied by others. We can't back down on this matter. Otherwise, their disciples will be even more unscrupulous in the trial. In a short while, the sects that had been oppressed previously began to express their dissatisfaction. This was because they knew very well that once they took this step back, their disciples would suffer even more casualties in the trial. Gradually, some of the sect leaders and elders came to Shun Liang's side. Their actions could not be more obvious. They wanted to stand on Shun Liang's side. Thank you all for being so righteous and upholding justice for our supreme demon sect. Seeing the actions of his sects, Shun Liang's expression relaxed. He quickly expressed his gratitude to everyone. In response to Shun Liang's gratitude, the sects waved their hands one after another, looking righteous. Seeing such a scene, the palace master of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace sensed something. With a gloomy expression, he said, "Could it be that you want to oppose our three sects by doing this? Have you thought of the consequences?" Hearing Duanju's threatening words, the people who supported the Supreme Demon sect showed some hesitation. Some people also had some thoughts of retreating in their hearts. They were in a dilemma. Seeing the reactions of these people, Shun Liang took a step forward and said, "Palace Lord Duanju, I feel that it's best to leave some leeway as a person. Even for a 5-star power, there will be a time when they decline. A small sect will only rise up at that moment. There's no benefit in going overboard." Upon hearing Shun Liang's words, Duanju frowned and understood what he meant. Shun Liang was telling him that with Mo Qingyun around, the rise of the Supreme Harmony Devil sect was inevitable. Since the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace insisted on going against the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate, they might be defeated by Mo Qingyun. When Duanju thought of this, his expression became even more solemn. He instinctively had some concerns. The people present were not fools. If Duanju could think of this point, they could naturally think of it as well. Soon after, the people who had originally retreated started to support the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. From their point of view, this was an opportunity to establish a good relationship with the Supreme Demon sect. If they grasped the future, the rewards would be astonishing. As for currying favor with the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace, that was unrealistic. The other party would not even bother with them. Humph! After weighing the pros and cons, Duanju made a difficult decision. He was very clear that with the current trend, they could not deal with the Supreme Harmony Devil sect at all. If they insisted on making a move, it would only end up with both sides suffering losses. This was not what he was willing to see. Rather than that, he might as well endure it first and settle the score later. Humph! Seeing that Duanju did not make a move, Shun Liang took a deep breath, his hanging heart slightly relieved. The crisis at hand could be considered to be resolved for the time being. Gufan blessed land. Under the guidance of a surge of power, Mo Qingyun arrived here and appeared in a huge mausoleum. At this moment, in front of him was a huge spirit coffin, emitting a terrifying aura. Sensing this aura, Mo Qingyun's expression was startled, and he approached carefully. The person in this spirit coffin had an unfathomable cultivation when he was alive. The closer he got to the spirit coffin, the more shocked Mo Qingyun's expression became. He could not help marveling in his heart. Before long, Mo Qingyun came to the front of the spirit coffin, carefully raised his hand, and opened the lid of the spirit coffin. As the lid was opened, the situation inside the coffin was seen by Mo Qingyun. Empty. Seeing the situation inside the coffin, Mo Qingyun looked surprised. He was very surprised by this scene. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, he saw a pile of strange stones inside the coffin. Looking at those strange corpses, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. He said in shock, "These are all time magic stones." After getting such a result, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock, and his heartbeat accelerated. Time magic stones were extremely rare. Under normal circumstances, it was difficult to see one, but there were hundreds of them here. I've struck it rich. After carefully inspecting the coffin and confirming that there were no taboos, Mo Qingyun collected the time magic stones. Not long after, over 100 time mana stones were all taken away by him. After the time magic stones were taken away, a strand of jet black hair entered Mo Qingyun's line of sight. That powerful aura actually came from this strand of hair. After learning that the terrifying aura came from the strand of hair, Mo Qingyun was shocked again, and his eyes widened. This situation was really too unexpected for him. Just a strand of hair, and its aura is comparable to a peak eternity realm expert. This person is stronger than I thought. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he did not hesitate and carefully put away the strand of hair. After taking away the strand of hair and the time magic stones, Emo Qingyun looked around again and then walked out of the tomb. After coming out of the tomb, Emo Qingyun saw a graveyard with countless tombs around it. Could it be that the tombs in this graveyard are the same as the previous one, and all contain terrifying existences? As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, Emo Qingyun impatiently walked towards the nearest tomb. When he arrived in front of the tomb, Emo Qingyun formed hand seals and started to break its taboos. The tomb's taboos were not powerful, and Emo Qingyun used a few hours to forcibly break them. I've finally broken them. After breaking the tomb's taboos, Emo Qingyun anxiously entered the tomb. Soon, an ancient coffin appeared in front of him. Looking at the coffin in front of him, Emo Qingyun immediately walked forward and prepared to open the coffin to take a look. Asterisk boom. 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 Asterisk at this moment, the coffin suddenly moved, emitting a powerful aura. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun's expression trembled, and he immediately felt uneasy. Chapter 28:34. Under Emo Qingyun's gaze, the lid of the coffin was opened, and a corpse jumped out. The corpse was holding a long spear and wearing black armor. It looked like a war god from the devil's sky. Hand over the mistress, and I will spare your life. When the corpse walked out of the coffin, he waved his spear and pointed it at Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun was stunned when he heard the corpse's words. He didn't understand. He had never seen the mistress the corpse had mentioned before. Anyone who offends the Gufan Star region will be killed without mercy. Before Emo Qingyun could react, the corpse wielded his long spear and charged at him. The moment the corpse attacked, he displayed a terrifying aura that wasn't any weaker than Babeli's. How strong! This person was definitely at the peak of the eternity realm when he was alive. Emo Qingyun's heart trembled when he saw the might of the spear. He didn't dare face it head-on. Immediately after, Emo Qingyun retreated and dodged the spear that was aimed at him. Spatial imprisonment. Spatial expansion. As Emo Qingyun retreated, he also released spatial laws to affect the corpse's movements. Under the power of the spatial imprisonment, the corpse's movements clearly paused. Before he could break through the spatial imprisonment, a tyrannical power enveloped his body. Boom! The corpse was immediately sent flying by this power and pulled away from Emo Qingyun. After forcing the corpse to retreat, Emo Qingyun didn't dare hesitate and immediately escaped from the tomb. You can't escape, the corpse shouted when he saw Emo Qingyun escape from the tomb. Then, he chased after Emo Qingyun. The corpse's figure flashed and disappeared from the tomb. Then, he chased after Emo Qingyun. In a short while, the distance between the corpse and Emo Qingyun shortened rapidly. So fast, Emo Qingyun was startled when he saw the corpse's movement speed. His expression immediately tensed up as he thought to himself, the corpse's comprehension of the laws is far above mine. It's too difficult for me to brush it away. Do I have to defeat it? While Emo Qingyun was fleeing, his mind was filled with thoughts as he tried to think of a way to resolve the situation. While Emo Qingyun was lost in thought, the corpse flashed and appeared in front of him. He waved the long spear in his hand and once again blasted towards Emo Qingyun, blasting out a violent spear light. When the spear light blasted towards Emo Qingyun, it was enhanced by the laws of time, causing its speed to soar. Time break. Time was like light. Emo Qingyun's expression changed when he saw the sword light flying towards him. He immediately brandished his sword to block it. Then, a dazzling sword ray shot out from the nine-bull divine sword. Bang! When the sword light collided with the spear light, it immediately exploded with a loud bang and a dazzling light. However, when the light flashed, the spear light scattered the sword light and continued to blast towards Emo Qingyun. Spatial deviation. Emo Qingyun's expression froze when he saw the spear light approaching. He hurriedly urged the power of the laws. Due to the spatial deviation law, the space in front of him was slightly distorted. Immediately, the spear light that blasted towards him was blasted in another direction. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Under the bombardment of the spear light, an ancient forest was instantly flattened. Seeing the power of the enemy's spear, Mo Qingyun's fear of him immediately became stronger. If the spear light hit him, even if his physical body was strong, he would probably be seriously injured. What should I do? After dodging the enemy's spear, Mo Qingyun's expression was tense as he thought about how to resolve the crisis. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and made a decision. Looks like I can only bet on my luck. I hope that the spatial door contains the laws of space imprisonment. The dual laws of space expansion could force the enemy back and make it unable to get close to him. However, it was a little impossible to get rid of the enemy. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. Then, he removed the spatial door and used it again. What made Mo Qingyun a little depressed was that the spatial door this time actually carried the laws of space compression. Again, Mo Qingyun did not give up after failing once. Instead, he continued to try. When Mo Qingyun did this, his situation became worse. The situation became more and more dangerous. This was because without the dual laws of space expansion, he simply could not force the undead to retreat. As it approached Mo Qingyun, the undead slashed down with its spear and slashed out a spear light that looked like a fire eagle. The spear light flashed like a fire eagle and flew towards Mo Qingyun. I can't dodge it. Looking at the approaching fire eagle spear light, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up. He waved a nine-bull divine sword with all his might to block it. Nebulous sacred garment. Thunderfire dragon saint body. Time-like light. Space imprisonment. He activated all kinds of divine abilities that could be used. Then, a sword light with an imposing aura blasted out from the nine-bull divine sword. Bang! The fire eagle spear light collided with the sword light and destroyed it domineeringly. It flew towards Mo Qingyun. Then, Mo Qingyun was engulfed by the flaming spear light and blasted to the ground. Boom! A loud boom rang out, and the ground trembled for a moment. At the same time, a terrifying storm of force also spread out in all directions. Under the impact of this storm, nearly half of the mausoleum within a radius of 10 miles was directly destroyed. Looking at the dust below, the undead did not leave. It stood quietly in midair. After a while, the dust dissipated, revealing Mo Qingyun's body. That was close. Fortunately, I have the Thunderfire Dragon Saint body, which is immune to most of the fire attacks. Thinking back to the situation just now, Mo Qingyun felt a wave of fear and a sense of relief. While Mo Qingyun was rejoicing, he did not let his guard down. If he did not get rid of the undead in front of him, he would not be able to rest in peace. He would always be hunted down by it. Looks like I have to ask Enchantment to come out and help. I hope he can help a little. With a thought, Mo Qingyun summoned the Dark Star to lend him a hand. Soon, a huge black figure appeared beside Mo Qingyun. Hey, this is an absolute beginning demonic spirit, and within 10 generations. Looking at the undead in front of him, Enchun was surprised. He seemed to know the undead's origin. Hearing Enchen's words, Mo Qingyun's expression lit up. He hurriedly asked, Enchun, you know its origin? Do you have any way to deal with it? Seeing Mo Qingyun's worry, Enchun smiled faintly. Master, don't worry. If it's an absolute beginning immortal spirit, I may not be able to deal with it, but I have a way to deal with an absolute beginning demonic spirit. In that case, you'll be the main attack. I'll help you from the side. After hearing Enchen's words, Mo Qingyun immediately made the decision to prepare to help Enchun hunt the undead. After receiving Mo Qingyun's order, Enchen did not hesitate at all and immediately used his natural ability. Dark Refining Sect, Soul Devouring. Enchun formed a hand seal and tapped between his eyebrows. Then, a door of light shining with black light flew out from between his eyebrows. Chapter 2835. The door of black light arrived with a flash and immediately enveloped the corpse. It produced a terrifying, devouring force. The corpse immediately became irritable after being devoured by the door of black light. It furiously attacked the door of black light. Boom, boom, boom. Under the corpse's attacks, loud booms rang out. It was deafening, and Chen's face sank when he saw the corpse's actions. He yelled out, "Bastard, why don't you just obediently wait for death before me?" As soon as Chen finished speaking, he formed a hand seal and sent it into the door of black light. Afterwards, the corpse's resistance immediately weakened. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression was one of shock, and his eyes were filled with shock. The corpse that he was helpless against was actually unable to resist Chen's attack at all. This situation had far exceeded his expectations. At that moment, Mo Qingyun could not help but feel fortunate that he had helped Chen merge with the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. After suppressing the primeval demon spirit, Chen turned to look at Mo Qingyun. He said, "Master, the primeval demon spirit is formed from the laws of the world. Refining it will be very beneficial to cultivation. I'll help you refine it." "All right." Mo Qingyun did not refuse Chen's suggestion. Afterwards, Mo Qingyun refined the primeval demon spirit with Chen's help. The dark heaven devouring gate. In order to increase the effects of the refinement, Mo Qingyun also used his innate ability to absorb the primeval demon spirit's origin energy. Under the absorption of the dark heaven devouring gate, pure origin energy was extracted from the primeval demon spirit's body. Refine. Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated when the origin energy entered his body. He immediately refined it. As Mo Qingyun refined the origin energy, his presence began to increase noticeably. Apart from that, the profound power of laws also radiated from his body. At that moment, Mo Qingyun's strength began to slowly rise. Seeing Mo Qingyun immerse himself in cultivation, Chen stood guard by the side to prevent Mo Qingyun from being disturbed. Mo Qingyun spent the rest of the time cultivating slowly but surely. After some time, Mo Qingyun's aura reached its limit. Master's cultivation is about to break through. Sensing the change in Mo Qingyun's aura, Chen's expression turned solemn. He knew about Mo Qingyun's situation. Soon after, his expression tensed up, and he became even more serious as he guarded the area. Boom! Under Chen's attention, Mo Qingyun's aura reached a new level. His cultivation had broken through, reaching the eternity realm. Mo Qingyun did not stop his breakthrough. Instead, he continued to immerse himself in his cultivation. Just like this, another 3 days passed, and the absolute beginning devil spirit was thoroughly refined by Mo Qingyun. After completely refining the demon spirit of absolute beginning, Mo Qingyun had a look of regret on his face. He withdrew from his cultivation and said, "What a pity. If I had cultivated for another 5 days, my cultivation would have improved further and reached the middle stage of the eternity realm." Although there was some regret in his heart, Mo Qingyun didn't mind it. He quickly felt relieved. This time, he had refined the absolute beginning devil spirit with Chen's help, allowing his strength to soar. This was already an unexpected gain. If it hadn't been for Chen, he might have still been running for his life. Although my current cultivation is at the peak of the initial stage of the eternity realm, I have comprehended 3 types of temporal laws. While refining the absolute beginning devil spirit, Mo Qingyun had used its origin source to comprehend 2 more types of temporal laws. Thinking about his current situation, Mo Qingyun had a rough estimate of his own strength. Given my current strength, even if I encounter a peak eternity realm powerhouse while using the Gate of Time, I still have the ability to contend with them. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, a faint smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. He was very satisfied with this improvement. This way, he would have the strength to protect himself in the ancient Brahman star domain. Since the crisis has been resolved, I should search for treasures with peace of mind. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. He did not waste any more time and began to search the other tombs. Now that Mo Qingyun's strength had increased greatly, and with Chen's help, the speed at which he broke through the tomb's restrictions had doubled. What surprised Mo Qingyun the most was that Chen had mastered many powerful techniques after coming out of seclusion this time. It seems like Chen has inherited all the abilities of his previous life after merging with the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Seeing Chen's performance, Mo Qingyun understood in his heart and didn't care about it. And Chun was his astral general. The stronger in Chun was, the more help he would be to him. After breaking through the tomb's restrictions, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop. He quickly walked inside. Soon, an ancient coffin entered Mo Qingyun's line of sight. With his experience with the absolute beginning devil spirit, Mo Qingyun was much more careful this time. He did not open it rashly. After carefully inspecting the coffin and confirming that there was no danger, Mo Qingyun opened it. To Mo Qingyun's disappointment, there was only an ordinary person buried in the coffin. It seems that the people buried here are not all-powerful existences. After closing the coffin again, Mo Qingyun shook his head disappointedly and turned to walk out of the tomb. Then, Mo Qingyun changed to another tomb and walked in his search. The result was still the same. The person buried in the coffin was still an ordinary person. Regarding this, Mo Qingyun felt a little helpless, but he did not stop there. Next, Mo Qingyun tirelessly dug up the tombs one by one. As the number of tombs he dug up increased, Mo Qingyun gradually gained some good divine weapons. The only thing that disappointed Mo Qingyun was that he did not find the eternal sacred stone among his gains. Half a day later, under Mo Qingyun's continuous digging, the thousands of tombs around were all dug up by him. After digging up all the tombs, Mo Qingyun made a discovery. He knew the pattern of these tombs. The first tomb he entered should be the main tomb here. A person of noble status was buried there. The corpse in the second mausoleum should be the guardian of this cemetery. As for the tombs behind, they were probably buried with the person. As for why there was only a tuft of hair in the first tomb and no corpse, Mo Qingyun did not know. There might be a secret hidden within. Looks like there are no more treasures here. After discovering the pattern of the tombs, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and flew to other places. After leaving this cemetery, Mo Qingyun came to an even larger cemetery and saw a massive statue. Just as Mo Qingyun approached the cemetery, a terrifying might came from the statue. What a terrifying might! Sensing the might of the statue, Mo Qingyun was shocked and did not rashly enter the cemetery. He was sure that even though the statue was an inanimate object, the will it contained could still crush him to death. Standing not too far away from the statue, Mo Qingyun took a look at the statue and recognized it. Chapter 28:36. If I want to enter this cemetery, I have to resolve the pressure of this statue. Mo Qingyun frowned as he looked at the statue in front of him, thinking of a solution. While Mo Qingyun was thinking, and Chun, who was beside him, narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice, "Master, this statue is not simple. It seems to be sealing the corpse of an expert. The corpse of an expert is sealed in the statue." Hearing in Chen's words, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was shocked by the news. If what Chun said was true, then the person sealed in the statue was the corpse of Quasi-Emperor Gufan. This guess frightened Mo Qingyun so much that even his heartbeat sped up. If the person sealed in the statue is really Quasi-Emperor Gufan, then the cemetery is even more impossible to enter. The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more his head hurt. He suddenly felt a little helpless and did not know how to resolve this problem. While Mo Qingyun was having a headache, and Chun formed a hand seal and sent it into the body of the statue. Then, Mo Qingyun saw the statue shatter bit by bit. Crack, crack, crack. When the statue shattered, a handsome face entered his line of sight. When Mo Qingyun saw this face, he recognized it as Quasi-Emperor Gufan. When he was talking to Hellion Lin Su, he had seen a portrait of Quasi-Emperor Gufan. "Master, there are still signs of life on his body. He is not dead yet." When Quasi-Emperor Gufan's corpse was revealed, and Chun said another shocking piece of news, which frightened Mo Qingyun again. When he heard in Chen's words, Mo Qingyun's heart trembled and a chill ran down his spine. Quasi-Emperor Gufan was not dead. If that was the case, wouldn't Mo Qingyun be provoking the lion by coming here to dig up his cemetery? Retreat. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he immediately made a decision. He was not willing to stay any longer. Before a quasi-emperor expert, touching his things was equivalent to pulling teeth from a tiger's mouth. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shin guessed what he was thinking and hurriedly said, "Master, don't panic. Although he is not dead, his consciousness is close to dissipating. I think you can take this opportunity to enslave him. If you enslave him, you will be able to obtain a strong helper. Enslave a quasi-emperor." When he heard Shin's idea, Mo Qingyun's eyelids twitched, frightened by this idea. Shin's suggestion, Shin, was a little too crazy. However, when he thought of the benefits of enslaving a quasi-emperor, he was tempted. Looking at Shin beside him, Mo Qingyun clenched his teeth and made a decision. He said, "I even subdued Shin. What is a quasi-emperor to me?" Shin's strength in his previous life was likely above the great emperor realm, which was far from what Gu Fan could compare to. Since Mo Qingyun had even subdued Shin, enslaving a quasi-emperor was not a big deal. "Do you have any way for me to enslave him easily?" Since Shin was the one who suggested it, Mo Qingyun felt that he should have some ideas. Just as Mo Qingyun guessed, Shin did have some ideas. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shin said to Mo Qingyun, "Master, my race has a magic ability called the Dark Slave God Gate. You have my race's bloodline, so you could try this magic ability. After you enslave him, you can turn him into a star general and easily control him to fight." Mo Qingyun did not want to delay. He immediately said to Shin, "Teach me the Dark Slave God Gate. I'll try and see if I can succeed." Then, Shin explained the method of using the Dark Slave God Gate to Mo Qingyun in detail. Several hours later, under Shin's guidance, Mo Qingyun became more proficient in using the Dark Slave God Gate. Then, Mo Qingyun did not think too much and prepared to use it on Gu Fan's corpse. "I hope it works." Mo Qingyun took a deep breath. He no longer hesitated and used the Dark Slave God Gate. Mo Qingyun's hands moved quickly, forming an ancient hand seal. He then pointed it at his glabella. A light gate emitting an ancient aura flew out of Mo Qingyun's forehead and slowly flew toward Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan's forehead. During this process, Mo Qingyun's expression was tense, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. An early-stage Eternity Realm cultivator was preparing to enslave a Quasi-Emperor expert. This was like an ant attacking an elephant. Boom! The moment the black light gate entered Gu Fan's forehead, a terrifying aura rushed into Mo Qingyun's mind. Under the pressure of this aura, Mo Qingyun immediately trembled and unconsciously took a few steps back. "Hang in there. I must hang in there." Mo Qingyun suppressed the aura in his mind, and a determined look appeared on his face. His expression became a little crazy. He knew very well that he could not retreat at this time. He could only sharpen his mind and charge forward. If he retreated, failing to enslave Gu Fan would be a small matter, and he might even suffer a backlash. This price was too great and was not something he could bear. Therefore, he could not retreat. "A mere ant wants to enslave me? You're courting death." A loud and clear voice appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind, causing him to feel a sense of awe. Under this intimidation, Mo Qingyun's soul almost left his body, and his divine soul was almost shaken to pieces. "I still want to find Ling Long and destroy the Dark Demon race. How can I be frightened by a Quasi-Emperor?" While Mo Qingyun was panicking, a strong sense of unwillingness arose in his heart. Immediately, Mo Qingyun felt proud, and his eyes flashed with a bright light. He raised his head and roared angrily, "I, Mo Qingyun, want to fight against the heavens. You're just a Quasi-Emperor and a half-dead one at that. How can you intimidate me with your aura?" Seal. Under Mo Qingyun's seal, Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan's aura began to weaken. However, Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan's resistance also became more and more intense. "You ant! How dare you disrespect me? When I recover my strength, I will sacrifice your spirit for 1,000,000 years." As soon as Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan finished speaking, He used a secret technique to seal his spirit. As Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan's spirit was sealed, Mo Qingyun encountered some obstacles in his attempt to enslave him. No wonder he's a Quasi-Emperor. He's not easy to deal with. Seeing Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan's actions, Mo Qingyun frowned and looked troubled. It seems like I can only ask Enchant to see if he has any ideas. In his opinion, given Enchen's background and experience, he should have some ideas. Although Mo Qingyun was troubled by Gu Fan's attempt to seal his spirit, he was also relieved. Gu Fan had sealed his spirit and he had given up on attacking, putting himself in a passive position. In this way, Mo Qingyun was no longer in danger and he could slowly think of a way to deal with him. Chapter 28:37. Master, Gu Fan has chosen to seal his spirit. This is a good thing for you. Enchant smiled brightly after learning about Gu Fan's situation from Mo Qingyun. If he had chosen to destroy himself, not only would you not have been able to enslave him, but your spirit would also have been injured. However, since he has chosen to seal his spirit, the situation is completely different. Tell me about it. Enchant's words piqued Mo Qingyun's interest. Enchant nodded when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He continued, Gu Fanshan has sealed his soul, so it's true that ordinary people of the Aeon boundary can't do anything to him. However, I have many ways to refine his soul bit by bit without him noticing. Enchant's words made Mo Qingyun look forward to it, and his expression became excited. Didn't this mean that there was a great possibility that he could enslave Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan? Successfully enslaving a Quasi-Emperor and making him his henchman was a crazy idea. Master, since he has sealed his spirit, you don't have to be too anxious. Although there are many ways to refine Gu Fan's soul, the safest way is to continue using the Dark Slave Divine Gate and refine his soul bit by bit. And Qin said to Mo Qingyun, although there are many ways to refine Gu Fan's soul, the safest way is to continue using the Dark Slave Divine Gate and slowly refine his soul. Because you have enslaved some of his spirit, you can use some of his power. After listening to Enchin's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded and said, I know what to do. In this case, I will refine him bit by bit. After chatting with Enchun for a while, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and put away Gu Fan's body. Since Gu Fan's dignity is gone, I should also explore the cemetery. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He no longer hesitated and began to walk into the cemetery. With his previous experience, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate at all when he entered the cemetery and headed straight for the largest tomb. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the bottom of the cemetery, in front of the largest mausoleum. If he was not mistaken, the mausoleum in front of Mo Qingyun should have been prepared by Gu Fan for him. Help me break the taboo. After sizing up the mausoleum for a while, Mo Qingyun gave an order to Enchun, and he took action to break the mausoleum's taboo. With the help of Mo Qingyun and Enchun, the restriction outside the tomb was immediately broken bit by bit. Several hours later, under the combined efforts of Mo Qingyun and Li Chia, the restriction outside the mausoleum was broken by them. Let's go in. The restriction outside the mausoleum had been broken. Mo Qingyun took the lead and walked in, beginning to search the mausoleum. As Mo Qingyun scanned the area, he discovered that the space of this tomb was much larger than the previous ones. Inside the mausoleum, there were many stone chambers. Every stone chamber had a coffin placed inside, emitting a mysterious power. The power floated out of the stone coffins and flew towards the coffin in the mausoleum hall, as if it was instilling power into it. This is the 9-coffin soul summoning formation. Seeing the scene before him, Enchen's expression changed. He could see the trick of these coffins. Immediately, his expression tensed up. He frowned and said, Master, the person who set up these mausoleums has an extraordinary background. I suspect that he might be from the Heaven Domain. From the Heaven Domain? Hearing Enchen's words, Mo Qingyun was shocked. A look of surprise appeared in his eyes. Although he did not know much about the Heaven Domain, he was certain that the people from the Heaven Domain were not simple. At the very least, This person was able to seal Quasi-Emperor Gu Fan, which showed his strength. This person must have set up the 9 coffins soul summoning formation. Let's not touch it. After sizing up the 9 coffins, Enchin's expression tensed up as he reminded Mo Qingyun. Hearing Enchin's reminder, Mo Qingyun nodded. He knew the severity of the matter. The person who set up the 9 coffin soul summoning formation was not the half-dead Gu Fan. If he was alarmed, the harem would be unimaginable. It was definitely not something that Mo Qingyun could contend against. Let's search around and see if there's anything we can take away. Okay. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, he and Mo Qingyun split up and searched the mausoleum. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Enchin took away all the burial items in the mausoleum. It's a pity. It would be great if we could find the eternal sacred stone. After searching the mausoleum, they found many treasures. Seeing that they did not find the eternal sacred stone, Mo Qingyun felt a little regretful. He said, I hope Enchin can gain something in the mausoleum. While Mo Qingyun was thinking, he did not stop and continued to search the mausoleum. Several hours later, the entire mausoleum was searched. Under Mo Qingyun and Enchin's search, there were no more treasures left. Master, did I plunder this? Arriving in front of Mo Qingyun, Enchin handed the things he had plundered to Mo Qingyun. After receiving the things Enchin had obtained, Mo Qingyun immediately checked to see if there was an eternal sacred stone. To his disappointment, there was no eternal sacred stone among the things Enchin had plundered. It looks like I can only think of another way to find the eternal sacred stone. Mo Qingyun could not help but sigh. He walked out of the mausoleum, wanting to try his luck in other mausoleums. When Mo Qingyun was about to leave, he discovered a stone with overwhelming spiritual qi at the bottom of the coffin in the mausoleum hall. That's the eternal sacred stone. After recognizing the stone, Mo Qingyun revealed a pleasantly surprised expression and quickly walked towards the coffin. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Enchin knew what he was thinking and hurriedly shouted to him. This person, the eternal sacred stone at the bottom of the coffin, is the eye of this 9 coffin soul summoning formation. Once it is touched, the entire formation will be destroyed. The consequences will be unimaginable. What a pity. Hearing Enchin's words, Mo Qingyun stopped and revealed a regretful expression. Although the eternal sacred stone was precious, to him, protecting his life was more important. It was not worth it to provoke a powerful existence for an eternal sacred stone. Let's go. Seeing that he could not take the eternal sacred stone away, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He turned around and walked out of the mausoleum. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and Enchin left the mausoleum and began to head to other mausoleums. What disappointed Mo Qingyun was that there were no rare items in the other mausoleums. Mo Qingyun was a little disappointed by such an outcome and began to head to other places. In the following time, Mo Qingyun flew around, looking for a new cemetery. What made him feel helpless was that he searched the entire space but did not find any more mausoleums. Other than that, he also discovered that he seemed to be trapped in an independent space. Chapter 28:38. There's something strange about this space. It seems like I can't break through it by force. Mo Qingyun tried to leave a few times, but failed. Then, he made a discovery and frowned. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had failed to leave, Enchin also made several attempts to break through the space, but he was also unable to do so. After obtaining such a result, Mo Qingyun and the other man frowned, thinking about how to leave. If I'm not wrong, the way to leave this place should be with Gu Fan. Enchin mulled this over for a while before he told Mo Qingyun his thoughts. Mo Qingyun frowned even more when he heard Enchin's words. He looked troubled and said, putting aside the fact that Gu Fan's spirit has been sealed, even if his spirit is fine, he probably won't send me away. Enchin nodded and agreed with Mo Qingyun. Enchin thought for a while and thought of an idea. He suggested to Mo Qingyun, Master, since the breakthrough lies with Gu Fan, why don't you try to refine his spirit? If you refine a part of his spirit, You might be able to use a part of his power to break through the seal of the space and leave this place. Okay, Mo Qingyun did not think any further after hearing En Chen's suggestion. He immediately began to refine Gu Fan's spirit. With a thought, Mo Qingyun unleashed the dark slave god gate and used it to slowly erode Gu Fan's spirit. Mo Qingyun's spirit power encountered a terrifying resistance the moment it came into contact with Gu Fan's spirit. As expected of a quasi-emperor, even though his spirit has been sealed, his resistance is still so strong. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he sensed the resistance from Gu Fan's spirit. He carefully continued to refine Gu Fan's spirit. Under Mo Qingyun's careful refining, he finally succeeded in eroding Gu Fan's spirit. I've succeeded. Although the progress is a little slow, it can be done slowly. Seeing his progress, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy, and he became a little excited. To him, as long as he could successfully erode Gu Fan's spirit, he would need to spend some time to completely enslave Gu Fan. Next, Mo Qingyun focused his mind and focused on corroding Gu Fan's soul. As Gu Fan's soul was slowly eroded by Mo Qingyun was able to use some of Gu Fan's power. Such a harvest made Mo Qingyun even more eager to erode Gu Fan's spirit. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. After 10 days of erosion, Mo Qingyun had finally eroded 1% of Gu Fan's soul. I can't let this continue. Otherwise, I'll awaken Gu Fan and trigger his final counterattack. Sensing that Gu Fan's resistance was growing stronger and stronger, Mo Qingyun did not continue. Gu Fanshan sealing his spiritual soul was the best situation for him. If he woke up, the situation would be a lot more troublesome. Although it's only 1%, I can still use a portion of his strength. With a thought, Mo Qingyun activated Gu Fan's aura and tried to break through the sealed space. Under the influence of Mo Qingyun's aura, the sealed space did not move at all. There was no reaction at all. Then, Mo Qingyun activated Gu Fan's nomological laws, but the result was the same. It still doesn't work. With such a result, Mo Qingyun frowned and felt a headache coming on. At this moment, Mo Qingyun could not help but feel puzzled. He began to doubt his previous guess. Could it be that the way to break through this space does not lie with Gu Fan, but with other methods? With this thought, Mo Qingyun's mind was opened. That's right, the 9 coffins soul summoning formation is to awaken that person. She might be the way to leave. With this thought, Mo Qingyun had a guess. He thought of the hair he had obtained and said, the aura on the hair is exactly the same as the one in the coffin. It might belong to the person in the coffin. Can I use the power of the hair to leave? When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he couldn't wait to verify his own thoughts. Immediately, Mo Qingyun took out the hair and poured a gush of saint power into it. As the saint power poured into the hair, it emitted a mysterious power and directly entered the space barrier. There's movement. Seeing the movement of the space barrier, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with a look of anticipation. From the looks of it, his guess was correct. If he wanted to leave this place, it really had something to do with the person in the coffin. With the movement of the space barrier, a whirlpool appeared in the sky and formed a teleportation portal. When the teleportation portal was formed, it emitted a terrifying suction force and acted on Mo Qingyun. Then, Mo Qingyun left the space and returned to the sky above the harbor. When Mo Qingyun returned to the sky above the harbor, one figure after another was sent out by the teleportation portal. Looking at their blank faces, it was likely that they had been forcefully sent out without knowing what was going on. It seems that their departure has something to do with me. Seeing everyone's reaction, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly and revealed a self-deprecating smile. Unknowingly, he seemed to have implicated everyone and set them up. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment. Without hesitation, he began to look for Shun Liang and the others. Not long after, Mo Qingyun found Shun Liang and the others as he searched. He flew towards them at top speed. Mo Qingyun's appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention and made the atmosphere tense. That kid is out, and his cultivation has broken through to the eternity realm. This kid must have gained a lot in the Gufan blessed land. We must not let him escape. Otherwise, the Supreme Harmony Demon sect will benefit greatly. When they saw Mo Qingyun appear, some of the people from the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace revealed sinister expressions. When he heard the words of the people beside him, Duan Yueheng's face darkened and turned sinister. He said, Mo Qingyun, hand over the things you obtained. Those originally belonged to me. In Duan Yueheng's opinion, if Mo Qingyun hadn't appeared, he would have definitely occupied the first island. In this way, Mo Qingyun would replace him and take away the things he wanted. Mo Qingyun ignored Duan Yueheng's clamor and said, If you want my things, then let's see what you're capable of. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed and he appeared beside Shen Liang. When he saw that Mo Qingyun had broken through to the eternity realm, Shen Liang was shocked at first. Then he revealed a gratified smile and said, Good, good, good. You did not disappoint the sect master. In Shen Liang's opinion, the better Mo Qingyun's performance was, the better it would be for the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. Chapter 28:39. While both sides were confronting each other, the disciples of the other sects had also arrived. When they saw their disciples returning, the sect leaders and elders of the various sects asked them about their gains. When they learned about the gains of their disciples, the faces of the sect leaders and elders were filled with pleasant surprise and satisfaction. When the people from the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace, Tao Ruin Saint sect, and Soaring Battle Devil sect saw the reactions of the people from the various sects, their faces turned even uglier. Due to Mo Qingyun, the strongest disciples of their sects were unable to enter the Gufan blessed land. As a result, they were the sects with the least gains in this trial. This huge difference in mentality was hard for them to accept. Shen Liang, I can spare Mo Qingyun's life, but he must hand over the things he obtained. Duanju muttered to himself for a moment before he spoke with a darkened face. When the people from the Tao Ruins Saint sect and Soaring Battle Devil sect heard Duanju's words, they rubbed their fists. It was as though if Shen Liang dared to refuse, they would disregard everything and attack Mo Qingyun and the others. When Shen Liang saw the actions of Duanju and the others, his expression turned solemn as hesitation appeared on his face. If Mo Qingyun was not here, he could fight to the death. At most, he would drag a few people down with him. However, now that Mo Qingyun was here, if they targeted Mo Qingyun, the situation would become a little worse. In Shen Liang's opinion, he could find more cultivation resources if he ran out. However, a disciple like Mo Qingyun was not easy to find. When Shen Liang was hesitating, Mo Qingyun walked up to him and waved his hand, taking out items one by one. When these items were taken out, the expressions of the surrounding people immediately became excited. Greed could be seen in the eyes of some of them. That's 100 million years falling cloud iron. It's the main material for forging spatial divine weapons. It's the chronoflame crystal. Refining it can strengthen the fire saint body. The flowing light heaven-devouring beast blood crystal. I didn't expect such an item to exist. Words of surprise came out from the mouths of the crowd. Not only were the bystanders shocked, Shen Liang also revealed a shocked expression when he saw these items. However, while he was shocked, he was also worried. His expression became tense as he thought to himself, although Mo Qingyun's talent is outstanding, he is too daring. If he takes out these things now, it will undoubtedly attract countless covetous eyes. Shen Liang was worried that Mo Qingyun taking out these items might cause those who supported him to covet them. At that time, the situation would be even worse. They would become the target of public criticism. Compared to Shen Liang's worry, Duanju instead revealed a brilliant smile and said, Kid, at least you're more sensible. You know that no matter how many cultivation resources there are, it's not as important as your life. In Duan Ju's opinion, Mo Qingyun must have taken these things out to give them to them in exchange for his life. As soon as Duan Ju finished speaking, Duan Yueheng, who was beside him, snorted coldly and said, "Palace Master, I suspect that the treasures he obtained are far more than these. We should perform a soul search on him to see what he obtained." Hearing Duan Yueheng's suggestion, Duan Ju smiled coldly and accepted his suggestion. Seeing Duan Ju's action, Shun Liang's expression turned gloomy as he shouted angrily, "Palace Master Duan, we can give you the items, but it's absolutely impossible to perform a soul search on Mo Qingyun. Shun Liang, in this situation, it's not up to you to bargain." Duan Ju smiled indifferently at Shun Liang's dissatisfaction. He had no intention of backing down. Presumably, he thought that they already had the overall situation under control. Mo Qingyun and the rest were fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered by them. Just as Shun Liang's heart was heavy and he didn't know what to do, Mo Qingyun said casually, "I think you've got it wrong. I took these things out not to give them to you, but to tell you that the items are here. If you have the ability, come and snatch them." When Mo Qingyun's words came out, the surrounding people were stunned. They thought that they had heard wrongly. Is Mo Qingyun crazy? Is he really not afraid of death by speaking like that? I don't know what he's thinking either. Maybe he has something to rely on. Just watch and you'll know. This scene should be very exciting. Everyone was puzzled. They didn't understand what Mo Qingyun was trying to do. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shun Liang was also puzzled. He hurriedly whispered to Mo Qingyun, "Mo Qingyun, by doing this, you'll anger Duan Ju and the rest. It'll be difficult to deal with what happens next. Grand Elder Shun Liang, let me handle this matter myself. You can just watch from the side." Hearing Shun Liang's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at him and gave him a comforting look. Seeing Mo Qingyun say so, Shun Liang didn't say anything else. He retreated to the back with a serious expression and said, "With Mo Qingyun's character, he shouldn't be impulsive. But what is he relying on?" At this moment, Shun Liang's heart was filled with a strong sense of doubt. Under Shun Liang's puzzled gaze, Mo Qingyun looked at Duan Ju and the rest and said, "Which one of you will come up to fight first? One by one, or all together?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone's expression changed again. The shock on their faces was even stronger. Mo Qingyun's words were too arrogant. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Duan Yueheng was immediately displeased. He took the lead and flew towards Mo Qingyun, shouting, "Don't be so arrogant, kid. I don't need anyone else to deal with you. I'm more than enough." 5 Mountain Heaven Shattering Finger. Duan Yueheng rushed towards Mo Qingyun. He pointed out a finger and condensed a violent saint energy. Immediately, this violent saint energy turned into a huge finger light and blasted towards Mo Qingyun. When the finger light blasted out, Duan Yueheng also released several types of laws to increase its attack power. "You're no match for me." Seeing Duan Yueheng's attack, Mo Qingyun's expression did not change, and he said calmly. Immediately, he took out the 9-bull divine sword and slashed towards the finger light. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, a terrifying power was emitted from his body. This power was very dangerous. It could be said that it was fleeting and was not captured by others. With the support of this power, the power of the sword light that he slashed out immediately increased by several levels. Poof! The sword light hit the finger light and dispersed it domineeringly. After dispersing the finger light, the attack of the sword light did not decrease and continued to blast towards Duan Yueheng. So strong. His strength is at least several times stronger than before. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, Duan Yueheng's expression trembled. His eyes were filled with shock as he said in shock, "What kind of fortuitous encounter did he have in Gufan Blessed Land? His strength has increased by so much." Chapter 2840. Although Duan Yueheng wanted to evade, he was stopped by a force when he tried to do so. When he sensed this force, Duan Yueheng shuddered and panicked. The space around him had been forcefully sealed by Mo Qingyun Space Imprisonment Law. Oh no, I can't evade it. Duan Yueheng panicked when he saw that the space around him had been sealed. He hastily tried to block the sword light. Duan Yueheng panicked as he threw out a palm strike, blasting out a huge palm shadow. The palm shadow was destroyed by the sword light as soon as it was blasted out. It had no effect at all. The sword light destroyed the palm shadow and blasted onto Duan Yueheng's body, leaving a hideous wound. At the same time, Duan Yueheng was blasted away by the sword light. Yueheng! Duan Ju was shocked when he saw Duan Yueheng being blasted away. He quickly flew over to him. Then, Duan Ju caught Duan Yueheng and sent him to the side. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were stunned, all of them widening their eyes. Mo Qingyun's strength has actually reached such a level. Although Duan Yueheng's cultivation is at the advanced stage of the Eternal Realm, his true combat strength is comparable to a peak Eternal Realm expert. Yet, he was not a match for Mo Qingyun. No wonder Mo Qingyun is not afraid of the three major sects. He does have the right to be arrogant. He can escape, but Shun Liang and the others and the Supreme Harmony Demon sect will not be able to. While everyone was exclaiming, they were also worried for the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. It would not be a good thing if the three major sects were forced into a corner and fought to the death with the Supreme Harmony Demon sect. It has only been a short time, yet his strength has already reached such a level. I'm afraid even I am no match for him. Shun Liang's old face was filled with disbelief as he looked at the skinny young man in front of him. From today onwards, the title of the #1 genius in the ancient Brahmin Star region will fall on his head. Shun Liang's worry lessened a lot as he lamented. He could tell that with Mo Qingyun's strength, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to escape and preserve his life. Brat, how dare you injure someone from my supreme Azure Dragon Palace? Duan Ju's face darkened as he looked at Duan Yueheng's injuries. He turned around and shouted at Mo Qingyun. Hearing Duan Ju's reprimand, Mo Qingyun did not mind in the slightest as he said, "So what if I hurt him? He wanted to steal my things. Even if I kill him, you won't be able to do anything to me." What arrogance! Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Duan Ju coldly snorted. He then walked towards Mo Qingyun and spoke. "In that case, this old man will spar with you. Let's see if I can do anything to you. Why don't you give it a try?" With regard to Duan Ju's attack, Mo Qingyun was similarly unafraid as he responded indifferently. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Duan Ju did not say anything else and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Heaven-extinguishing divine Buddha palm. Duan Ju clasped his palms together and leaped into the air, arriving above Mo Qingyun. Following that, he pushed his palms down and blasted out two terrifying saint energies, transforming into two giant palms, one golden and one black. The golden giant palms were solemn and dignified, while the black giant palms were cold and gloomy. Both of them emitted a terrifying aura. Facing the incoming attack of the two palms, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up. Duan Ju's strength was indeed much stronger than Duan Yueheng's. However, although Mo Qingyun was somewhat solemn, he did not feel any fear. Time is like light. With the 9-bull divine sword in hand, Mo Qingyun stepped forward and blasted out a dazzling sword ray. The speed of the sword ray was extremely fast. It instantly hit the two giant palms and blocked their attack. "You actually managed to block my palm strike." Seeing that his palm was blocked, Duan Ju's expression was slightly shocked. He was very surprised by this situation. After a short moment of surprise, his expression turned gloomy and he immediately increased the strength of his palm. As Duan Ju increased the strength of his attack, the light emitted by the two palms immediately became stronger. Under the suppression of the palms, the sword ray was still dispersing bit by bit. It seemed that it was unable to block the attack of the palms. Seeing that the sword ray was beginning to dissipate, a cold smile appeared on Duan Ju's face as he said proudly, "Kid, you're still too inexperienced if you want to fight with me." After Duan Ju finished speaking, he sent out another palm and increased the strength of his palm. Bang! Under the bombardment of the two palms, the sword ray instantly dissipated and disappeared between heaven and earth. Soon after, the two giant palms, one golden and one black, pressed down on Mo Qingyun. Facing the bombardment of the two palms, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless and immediately slashed out with his sword. Time is eternal. With a wave of the nine-bull divine sword in Mo Qingyun's hand, a sword ray immediately blasted out and blocked the two palms once again. Seeing that the two palms were blocked by the sword ray again, the smile on Duanju's face became even more complacent as he said, "You can't block my divine ability. Don't make unnecessary resistance." That might not be the case. Hearing Duanju's words, Mo Qingyun revealed an unyielding expression as he pushed the nine-bull divine sword forward. Following that, an ancient and terrifying aura was emitted from Mo Qingyun's body. When this aura was emitted, a terrifying and mysterious power was added to the sword ray. Bang, bang, bang. Under the bombardment of this power, the two giant palms immediately collapsed like a dam bursting through a mountain. The palms were defeated by the overbearing force, and Duanju, who was connected to his mind, was immediately shaken to the point that he vomited blood. That aura, sensing the aura on Mo Qingyun's body, Duanju's eyes widened as he felt a chill run down his spine. Under the envelopment of that aura, he had a bone-chilling feeling and couldn't even think of resisting. Fortunately, that aura only appeared on Mo Qingyun's body for a moment before disappearing. Duanju wasn't an ordinary person. After calming down, he made a decision and said, "This kid's aura definitely has some shocking secrets. It's absolutely not something that I can get involved in. I'd better stay away from this kid." When this thought appeared, Duanju's gaze towards Mo Qingyun surged with a trace of fear. The feeling that Mo Qingyun gave him now was like a ticking time bomb that might explode at any moment. "Let's go." Since he wasn't willing to provoke Mo Qingyun, Duanju didn't want to stay any longer and immediately gave the order to his sect members. Duanju left. Seeing Duanju's actions, the surrounding people were stunned and felt that it was unbelievable. With their understanding of Duanju, he shouldn't be someone who would let things go. "What's wrong with you guys?" After the people from the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace left, Mo Qingyun looked at the Dao Ruined Saint sect and the cheerful Battle Devil sect and challenged them. When they heard Mo Qingyun's question, the people from the Dao Ruined Saint sect and the cheerful Battle Devil sect immediately looked at each other. They conversed for a moment before leaving one after another. They didn't do anything to Mo Qingyun. In their opinion, something must have happened since the people from the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace suddenly left. Chapter 2841. Mo Qingyun. I'm going back to the sacred underworld True Palace. Remember to come and visit me. Before Hellion Linsu left, she came to Mo Qingyun and bid him farewell. When Hellion Linsu walked over, Hellion Taisheng, a worker from a sacred underworld True Palace, also came to Mo Qingyun and said with a faint smile, "Little friend Mo, thank you for helping Linsu at the Dark Spirit Flood Dragon Cave in the Dark Dragon Continent." "It's nothing." Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently. He didn't have the slightest intention of taking credit. After replying to Hellion Taisheng, Mo Qingyun looked at Hellion Linsu and said, "If there's a chance, I'll definitely visit the sacred underworld True Palace." Hellion Linsu nodded with satisfaction and left with Hellion Taisheng. After Hellion Linsu and the others left, Zhuo Gongsheng walked over with a complicated expression and said goodbye to Mo Qingyun. He really didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would grow so quickly in such a short time. Even someone like Duanju couldn't do anything to him. This kind of growth was too terrifying. Zhu Lin, don't provoke him in the future. He's not someone you can afford to offend. The Blazing True Sun sect master comforted the girl beside him with a helpless expression. Hearing the sect master's comforting words, Zhu Lin sighed helplessly. The hatred in her heart weakened a little. She knew very well that she and Mo Qingyun were people from two different worlds. Let's go. Seeing everyone leave one after another, Emo Qingyun turned around and said to Shun Liang and the others. Shun Liang and the other elders exchanged glances. They then took out the flying boat and brought everyone back to the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect. In the cabin of the boat, Senior Brother Zhang, Senior Brother Song, Senior Sister Shun, how was your harvest? Sitting with Zhang Zhenfei and the others, Emo Qingyun asked them about their situation with a concerned expression. Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, the few of them revealed joyful smiles. Obviously, their harvest was pretty good. Seeing their reactions, Emo Qingyun didn't ask any more questions and nodded in understanding. Junior apprentice brother Emo, the reason why we were able to gain so much this time was because of you. If it weren't for your fierce battle with Duan Yueheng, causing the other sects to feel apprehensive, our situation wouldn't be optimistic. That's true. If other sects were to compete with us, at least half of our people would be eliminated. Thinking back to the past, Zhang Zhenfei and the others rejoiced, their eyes filled with gratitude. Emo Qingyun didn't mind the thanks of Zhang Zhenfei and the others. He waved his hand and said, "We are all fellow disciples of the same sect. There is no need to be so polite." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zhang Zhenfei and the others didn't treat Emo Qingyun as an outsider and exchanged some pleasantries with him. After chatting with Zhang Zhenfei and the others for a while, Emo Qingyun asked with an expectant expression, "Did you guys find any eternal holy stones after entering the ancient Brahmin-blessed land?" No, they all shook their heads. Seeing their reactions, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with disappointment. It seemed like he had to think of another way to obtain the eternal holy stone. While Emo Qingyun was feeling disappointed, Cheng Luo smiled proudly and said, "Io, my luck is really bad. I only found one eternal holy stone after entering the ancient Brahmin-blessed land." Hearing Cheng Luo's words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed, and he immediately looked at him. Seeing Emo Qingyun looking at him, Cheng Luo's face became even more proud. He said, "Senior apprentice brothers, what do you think I can exchange this eternal holy stone for? At least a sector lord level weapon. I don't think I can exchange it for a sector lord level weapon. However, there is still some hope for a quasi-sector lord level weapon. I suggest you exchange it for some cultivation resources. It would be best if it was a cultivation technique." The others didn't guess what Cheng Luo was thinking and gave him suggestions. Cheng Luo shook his head with a sinister smile when he heard their suggestions. He said, "This is an eternal sacred stone, a rare item that can only be found by chance. Without an emperor-level divine weapon, how can I trade it away so easily?" Hearing Cheng Luo's words, Emo Qingyun gave up on the idea of an exchange and retracted his gaze. Emo Qingyun already knew that Cheng Luo had taken out the eternal holy stone to show off and anger him. Knowing Cheng Luo's intentions, Emo Qingyun naturally didn't want to waste any effort on him. Seeing Emo Qingyun turn his head, Cheng Luo immediately shouted at Emo Qingyun, "Senior apprentice brother Emo, don't you think my conditions are very reasonable?" Hearing Cheng Luo's words, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He smiled faintly and said, "How can an emperor-level weapon be exchanged for an eternal holy stone? At the very least, it will be a life." After Emo Qingyun said this, the atmosphere in the cabin immediately became heavy. Everyone looked at each other. Then, he turned to look at Cheng Luo with sympathy in his eyes. In their opinion, Cheng Luo's deliberate showing off might have triggered Emo Qingyun's killing intent. Having misunderstood Emo Qingyun's intentions, Huang Benmo pondered for a moment and said to Cheng Luo, "Junior apprentice brother Cheng Luo, junior apprentice brother Emo needs the eternal holy stone to refine his weapon. It's useless for you to have the eternal holy stone. Why don't you exchange it for some cultivation resources?" Hearing Huang Benmo's words, the people around nodded in agreement and tried to persuade Cheng Luo. They felt that Cheng Luo would not only gain some benefits by exchanging the eternal holy stone, but he would also be able to resolve his enmity with Emo Qingyun. However, What made everyone helpless was that Chung Luo directly rejected their suggestion. He said, "Junior apprentice brother Mo has already said that if he wants to exchange for my eternal holy stone, he will at least need an emperor-level weapon and a life. How can I exchange it so easily? It just so happens that I can't afford it either." Mo Qingyan replied as soon as Chung Luo finished speaking. He retracted his gaze from Chung Luo. Ignoring Chung Luo, Mo Qingyan got up and walked towards Wang Huani. He took out some cultivation resources and said, "Senior apprentice brother Wang, because of me, you were seriously injured. Please accept these." Due to some unforeseen circumstances in the Tranquil Water District, they were directly brought into Gufan blessed land. Therefore, Wang Huani did not have the opportunity to enter, causing him to gain nothing. "Junior apprentice brother Mo, these things are too valuable. I can't accept them." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Wang Huani was immediately moved. He hurriedly waved his hand at Mo Qingyun. He really did not expect Mo Qingyun to do this. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Huang Benmo and the others at the side showed expressions of admiration. They could see the value of the things Mo Qingyun took out. Seeing Wang Huani refuse, Mo Qingyun smiled indifferently and said, "We're all fellow apprentices. I'm eating meat, so how can I not let you have a taste? If you accept it, then you're looking down on me as your junior apprentice brother." "Junior apprentice brother Mo, thank you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Huani was moved. He thanked Mo Qingyun and said, "If you have any instructions for me in the future, just tell me as soon as possible. I will definitely not decline." Chapter 2842. After chatting with everyone for a while, Mo Qingyun no longer wasted time and threw himself into cultivation. Mo Qingyun threw himself into cultivation. He made use of the gate of time to comprehend time loss. Seeing Mo Qingyun throw himself into cultivation, Zhang Jinfei and the rest did not idle around either. They all imitated Mo Qingyun and focused on cultivation. In their view, even Mo Qingyun was cultivating so hard. What reason did they have to waste time? Following that, everyone spent the time on the journey cultivating. Half a month later, under Shen Liang and the rest's lead, the streamer airship arrived at the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect. Seeing the streamer airship return to the sect, Shen Liang went to wake everyone up and disembarked from the streamer airship. Sensing Shen Liang approaching, Zhang Zhenfei and the rest withdrew from cultivation one after another and got up to welcome Shen Liang. However, what surprised them was that Mo Qingyun was actually still immersed in cultivation. Seeing such a situation, Zhang Zhenfei and the rest frowned tightly, feeling that it was somewhat difficult. Mo Qingyun's current state clearly could not break away from cultivation. If they forcefully interrupted him, it would stop his cultivation at best. At worst, it might injure him because of it. Grand Elder Shen Liang, Mo Qingyun is currently at the juncture of cultivation. Should we wait a while longer? Seeing Mo Qingyun's situation, Zhang Zhenfei's expression was tense as he suggested to Shen Liang. Hearing Zhang Zhenfei's words, Shen Liang revealed a hesitant expression, considering how to do it in his heart. Seeing Shen Liang's hesitation, Chung Luo by the side pursed his lips and said, "Who does Mo Qingyun think he is? What right does he have to make so many of us wait for him? No one asked you to stay and wait. You can return to the sect as you wish." Chung Luo's attitude immediately made Zhang Zhenfei displeased, and he reprimanded him. Hearing Zhang Zhenfei's reprimand, Chung Luo's face darkened, and he wanted to argue with a look of anger. "All of you, stop arguing." Before Chung Luo could speak, Shen Liang interrupted him and waved his hand at everyone, saying, "Mo Qingyun needs quiet to cultivate. All of you return to the sect first. I'll stay behind to look after him alone." "Yes." Hearing Shen Liang's instructions, Zhang Zhenfei and the others left one after another. However, Chung Luo's gaze was cold as he looked at Mo Qingyun, who was repairing the road. He had some sinister thoughts in his mind. Seeing that Chung Luo was still standing there, the attentive Shan Hongmei frowned and shouted, "Chung Luo, what are you standing there for? Are you trying to disturb Junior Brother Mo's cultivation? You. What nonsense are you spouting? His thoughts were exposed by Shun Hongmei, and Shun Luo immediately felt guilty. After that, Chung Luo didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately walked out of the Lightstream flyboat. Not long after, everyone left, leaving only Shun Liang alone. When everyone left, Mo Qingyun's aura underwent a huge change. Sensing the change in Mo Qingyun's aura, Shun Liang's old face trembled as he exclaimed. He actually comprehended the time rewind law. This kind of comprehension ability is seriously too terrifying. According to Shun Liang's understanding, Mo Qingyun had already comprehended 3 types of time law so far. Just breaking through to eternity realm cultivation and already comprehending 3 types of time laws, this was seriously too terrifying. Calming the shock in his heart, Shun Liang's face was tense as he silently guarded Mo Qingyun's side. Time slowly trickled by. No idea how long had passed. Mo Qingyun withdrew from cultivation and saw Shun Liang guarding in front of him. Seeing that the others all left and only Shun Liang stayed behind, Mo Qingyun understood and said gratefully, "Thank you for your trouble, Grand Elder Shun Liang, especially staying behind to stand guard for me. Just a small matter." Shun Liang waved his hand nonchalantly, turned around, and walked out of the Lightstream flyboat, saying, "Since your cultivation is done, let's return to the sect together." Okay. Mo Qingyun nodded and followed. Shun Liang put away the Lightstream flyboat and returned to the Supreme Harmony Demon sect with Mo Qingyun. Returning to the Supreme Harmony Demon sect, the two went straight to the conference hall and informed Ba Bailai and the rest. Before long, everyone arrived at the conference hall and started discussing the Starfield battle brilliance, asking how the battle had gone. Ba Bailai glanced at Mo Qingyun, his eyes filled with surprise. Then, a gratified smile appeared on his face as he said, "Very good. I didn't think that after the Star Domain battle for glory, your cultivation would advance to the next level, breaking through to the eternal realm. It was just a fluke." Mo Qingyun's expression was calm as he responded to Babeli's praise. As soon as these words left Mo Qingyun's mouth, Shun Liang shook his head and said, "Mo Qingyun, you're being too modest. If you were lucky enough to break through, then there's probably no one who wasn't." Mo Qingyun didn't refute Shun Liang's words. Before breaking through to the eternity realm, he had already comprehended time laws, so breaking through to the eternity realm wasn't a problem at all. Therefore, breaking through to the eternity realm could be considered a matter of course. Upon hearing Shun Liang's words, Ba Bailai looked curious and asked, "Grand Elder Shun Liang, please tell us the details of the Star Field battle brilliance." "All right." Shun Liang nodded and started narrating the process of the Star Field battle brilliance without missing a single detail. The expressions of Ba Bailai and the others became more and more interesting as they listened to Shun Liang's narration. Especially when Shun Liang talked about Mo Qingyun's battle with Duanju, they were all stunned. They knew very well who Duanju was. He was the palace master of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace. Even if they had faced him, they wouldn't have had much of a chance of winning. Who would have thought that such a person would actually be scared off by Mo Qingyun? This was really unbelievable. Mo Qingyun, can you tell us how you scared off Duanju? A Grand Elder asked Mo Qingyun curiously. He wanted to know the reason behind this. Upon hearing this Grand Elder's question, the curiosity of the others was piqued. Under everyone's curious gazes, Mo Qingyun's expression didn't change. Instead, he used a slightly apologetic tone and said, "Sorry, this is a disciple's secret. I hope that I can't tell you." Mo Qingyun's answer disappointed everyone. However, they didn't blame him. First of all, everyone had their own secrets that couldn't be revealed without reservation. Second of all, if Shun Liang's words were true, then Mo Qingyun's strength wasn't any weaker than theirs. If they punished Mo Qingyun because of this, there would probably be bad consequences. In that case, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. "Qingyun, you've had a tough journey. Go back and rest first." After learning about the situation of the star field battle brilliance, Bob Bailey waved his hand and gestured for Mo Qingyun to withdraw. Upon hearing this, Mo Qingyun nodded and left the hall. After Mo Qingyun left, Bob Bailey's expression tensed up. He said, although Duanju was scared off by Qingyun, the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace, the Dao Ruin Sacred Sect, and the Soaring Battle Devil Sect are all stronger than us. The combination of the three sects is very terrifying. We have to be careful. Shun Liang and the others agreed with Bob Bailey's worries. All of them frowned. Chapter 2843. After leaving the meeting hall, Mo Qingyun returned to his residence. Mo Qingyun returned to his residence and entered the Fortune mainland without any hesitation. Just now, I seem to have sensed a mysterious energy from Gu Fan's body. Entering the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun's brows were deeply furrowed as a strong sense of curiosity rose in his heart. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun summoned Enchun, wanting him to help analyze the situation. Master, what instructions do you have for summoning me? Enchun bowed respectfully to Mo Qingyun when he arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. Upon hearing Enchen's question, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before he said, I can sense a mysterious energy from Gu Fan's body. Help me analyze it. All right. Enchen nodded. After explaining it to Enchen, Mo Qingyun activated the energy and pressed it against Enchen's body. Enchen looked enlightened when he sensed the energy and said, Master, this energy is the Great Tao concept. Only world lords can comprehend it. I didn't expect Gu Fan's Great Tao concept to have reached such a level. No wonder his strength is comparable to Emperor Realm experts. Great Tao concept. Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression when he heard Dawn's reply. He asked, tell me what's so special about world overlords and great emperors. Yes. And Chen nodded and said, Universe Realm experts mainly comprehend the power of laws. However, after reaching the World Lord realm, they can comprehend the power of laws. World Lords can only comprehend the surface of the Great Tao concept. Only after reaching the Emperor realm can one comprehend the true Great Tao concept. So this is the power of laws. Mo Qingyun was enlightened when he heard Enchen's explanation. The doubts in his heart were answered. Just as Mo Qingyun's doubts were resolved, he felt even more puzzled. He muttered to himself, strange. When I received the Joss Flame power, I obtained a strength that was similar to the Great Tao's rules. However, it also seems even more mysterious. Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated when this question arose in his heart. He immediately asked Enchun, Dark Dawn, I'll release another force. Help me analyze it. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he released another force that pressed down on Enchen's body. Enchen's expression changed drastically when he sensed the energy Mo Qingyun released, and he exclaimed, Master, this energy of yours seems to be the Grand Primordial Grand Tao concept. Grand Primordial Great Tao concept? Hearing Enchen's answer, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He didn't recover from his shock at all. He did not expect that the power derived from the power of Joss Flames was actually a powerful Great Path concept. Upon discovering this, Mo Qingyun hurriedly asked Enchun, Quick, tell me what kind of power this Grand Primordial Great Path intent is. Yes. Enchun immediately answered when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He said, when the world was first created, it was chaotic and gave birth to the most primitive power. Everyone called it the Grand Primordial Great Path intent. As the world evolved, it slowly split into countless smaller worlds. The power of the laws in these smaller worlds was called the Grand Primordial Great Path intent. If you want to comprehend the Grand Primordial Great Path intent, you have to comprehend the Grand Primordial Great Path intent. I never thought that Master would have actually comprehended it. And Shen's explanation shocked Mo Qingyun even more. His heartbeat sped up. This situation was far too different from what he had imagined. It looks like my comprehension of the Grand Primordial Great Path intent should be related to the Gate of Destinies. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and found the reason. He revealed a look of understanding and said, "Tell me, what's the difference between the Great Path intent, the Grand Primordial Great Path intent, and the Grand Primordial Great Path intent?" And Shin didn't hide anything from Mo Qingyun's question and answered truthfully. Ordinary great emperors comprehend the Great Path intent. This power is mainly borrowed. However, the Grand Primordial Great Path intent and the Grand Primordial Great Path intent are completely different. They're derived from themselves and must have their own small worlds. So it's like that. After hearing Shen's explanation, Mo Qingyun's doubts and puzzlement were all cleared up at this moment. After explaining to Mo Qingyun, Shen pondered for a moment and said, "Master, if you encounter experts above the Sector Lord realm, it's best not to use the Grand Primordial Great Path intent unless it's absolutely necessary." "Why?" Mo Qingyun asked in confusion. Shen's expression turned solemn when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He said, "If I'm not wrong, the Grand Primordial Great Path intent you've grasped should be derived from this small world. If experts above the Sector Lord realm discover that you've grasped the Grand Primordial Great Path intent, they'll definitely think of a way to seize your small world." I understand." After hearing Shen's explanation, Mo Qingyun's doubts were completely cleared up. After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Shen revealed a faint look of joy and said, "Master, you can use the Grand Primordial Great Path intent to suppress Gu Fan's Grand Primordial Great Path intent to reduce the pressure when you refine his soul." "Let me try." After hearing Shen's suggestion, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and immediately refined Gu Fan's soul. A mysterious Grand Primordial Great Path intent was released from Mo Qingyun's body and suppressed Gu Fan's Grand Primordial Great Path intent. Gu Fan's Grand Primordial Great Path intent was suppressed, and the pressure on Mo Qingyun to refine his soul was reduced by several folds. It's really effective. Sensing that the pressure had decreased, Mo Qingyun was delighted and immediately worked hard to refine Gu Fan's soul. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was immersed in cultivation, Shen didn't want to stay any longer and said to Mo Qingyun, "Master, I want to go to the Primordial Fog Sea and capture some primordial spirits to refine so that my cultivation can recover faster." "All right." After hearing Shen's idea, Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement. The faster Shen's strength increased, the more help it would be to him. Next, Mo Qingyun and Shen immersed themselves in cultivation and rapidly increased their strength. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation, and almost a month had passed. After a month of hard work, Mo Qingyun's refining progress finally reached a bottleneck. "I've reached the limit again." Sensing the refining progress, Mo Qingyun frowned and muttered to himself, "Given the current refining progress, if I want to refine Gu Fan's soul further, I'll have to improve my cultivation further." Mo Qingyun understood this point, so he didn't continue and withdrew from his cultivation. "Although I've only refined close to 10% of Gu Fan's soul, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with Duan Zhu and the others." When Mo Qingyun sensed his own situation, a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He felt a sense of anticipation. Chapter 2844. Let's see how Shen's cultivation is going. With a thought, Mo Qingyun disappeared and arrived in front of the primordial mist ocean. Mo Qingyun jumped into the primordial mist ocean and swam towards Shen. Not long after, a powerful aura fluctuation came from in front of Mo Qingyun. Late stage Eternity Realm. Mo Qingyun's expression shook when he sensed Shen's aura. His eyes were filled with shock. In just a month, Shen's cultivation had risen from the early stage Eternity Realm to the late stage Eternity Realm. Even Mo Qingyun couldn't compare to this speed. As expected of the reincarnation of a super expert, this cultivation speed is too terrifying. After sensing Shen's situation, Mo Qingyun muttered to himself and said, "At this rate, It won't be long before Enchun breaks through to the Sector Lord realm. After knowing Enchen's situation, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer and walked out of the primordial mist ocean. After coming out of the primordial mist ocean, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and returned to his room. Creak! Mo Qingyun opened the door and left the room. He rushed towards Babeli's residence. He wanted to ask if the other sects of the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace had come to find trouble with the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect. If there's nothing wrong with the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect, I'll make a trip to the WYRM Underworld continent. After arriving at Babeli's residence, Mo Qingyun thought silently and made a plan. Not long after, Mo Qingyun arrived at Babeli's residence and entered his courtyard. Come in and sit here. Seeing Mo Qingyun arrive, Babilai smiled warmly and waved at him. Mo Qingyun nodded and sat down beside Babilai. He asked, Master, has the Supreme Azure Dragon Palace come to the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect to cause trouble recently? Some time ago, they came to visit, but they didn't have the intention to condemn us. When he heard Mo Qingyun's question, Babilai briefly explained the situation of the various sects to Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding when he heard Babel's explanation. He said, If I'm not wrong, these sects should have come to investigate. That should be the case. In response to Mo Qingyun's guess, Babilai nodded and said, Since the sects didn't come to make trouble, what are your plans? I'm preparing to make another trip to the dark WYRM continent. Hearing Babeli's question, Mo Qingyun didn't hide anything from him and directly told him his plan. Knowing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Babilai nodded and said, When do you plan to leave? After I return from here, I'll head to the underworld WYRM continent. Mo Qingyun's expression was calm as he gave a simple answer to Babilai. When he heard Mo Qingyun's answer, Babilai thought for a while and said, With your talent and strength, continuing to stay in the Extreme Harmony Demon Sect will limit your growth. What plans do you have for the future? None at the moment. Mo Qingyun shook his head. Babilai hesitated and made a difficult decision. He said, This is the identity token of the true, absolute, beginning demon hall. It was given to me when I was cultivating in the true, absolute, beginning demon hall. This is my master's jade talisman. With these two items, you can go to the true, absolute, beginning demon hall to find him. True, absolute, beginning demon hall. When he heard Babeli's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He felt touched. He knew very well that Babeli's actions were for the sake of his future. If nothing unexpected happened, the true, absolute beginning demon hall that Babilai spoke of was definitely a powerful 4-star force. Cultivating in a 4-star force would undoubtedly be much more efficient than staying in a 3-star force. Thank you, Master. After receiving the token and jade talisman, Mo Qingyun thanked him and said, As for entering the true, absolute beginning demon hall, I will consider it carefully when I return. Babilai wasn't surprised by Mo Qingyun's answer. He indeed needed to consider it carefully. After all, entering the true, absolute beginning demon hall wasn't like the Extreme Harmony Demon Sect. The competition there was much more intense. Although he was leading the way for Mo Qingyun, it was hard to say whether Mo Qingyun would be able to gain a foothold there. The two of them chatted for a while more before Mo Qingyun left. After leaving Babeli's residence, Mo Qingyun didn't return. Instead, he walked out of the sect. Coincidentally, when Mo Qingyun left the Extreme Harmony Demon Sect, Chung Luo and the others also came out. Junior brother Mo, where are you planning to go? Huang Benmo greeted Mo Qingyun warmly when he saw him leave the sect. Chung Luo snorted coldly and glared at Mo Qingyun when he saw Huang Benmo greet Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun ignored Chung Luo's actions and said with a faint smile, I'm planning to make a trip to the Dark Dragon continent to explore the underworld Blood Dark Rock Cliff and the Black Abyss Broken Dragon Valley. I want to see if I can find anything. The underworld Blood Dark Rock Cliff and the Black Abyss Broken Dragon Valley? Huang Benmo was shocked when he heard Mo Qingyun's reply. His expression immediately tensed up as he said, Junior brother Mo, Do you know that the underworld Blood Dark Rock Cliff and the Black Abyss Broken Dragon Valley are famous for being dangerous places on the Dark Dragon continent? Even Eternity Realm experts will die if they enter. I know. Mo Qingyun nodded. Huang Binmo smiled bitterly when he heard Mo Qingyun's reply. He shook his head and said, I forgot that junior brother, Mo, isn't an ordinary person. You're bold because you're skilled. Your situation is different from ours. I hope my luck is good and I don't run into any trouble. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He looked curiously at Huang Binmo and the others and said, Senior brother Huang, where are you going? We. Huang Binmo immediately replied when he heard Mo Qingyun's reply. However, before he could finish speaking, Chung Luo interrupted him. Chung Luo said impatiently, Senior brother Huang, we don't have much time. Don't waste it on him. Junior brother Mo, I'm sorry. Hearing Chung Luo's urging, Huang Binmo smiled apologetically and left with Chung Luo's group. Mo Qingyun wasn't interested in where Huang Binmo and the others were going. He summoned the Time Warship. After summoning the Time Warship, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any more time and immediately set off for the Dark Dragon continent. Controlling the Time Warship to travel, its speed was clearly much faster. In just 3 days, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Dark Dragon continent. With his previous experience and Hellion Linsu's guidance, Mo Qingyun was much more familiar with the place. Let's go to the underworld Blood Dark Rock Cliff to take a look. Mo Qingyun observed the terrain and didn't waste any more time. He controlled the Time Warship and continued on their way. Several hours later, Mo Qingyun stopped the Time Warship and walked out. After coming out of the Time Warship, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and flew towards a huge cliff. Chapter 2845. Someone actually arrived at the Dark Blood Dark Rock Cliff before me. As he approached the Dark Blood Dark Rock Cliff, Mo Qingyun discovered that a group of people had arrived here before him. Sensing that group of people, Mo Qingyun increased his flying speed and rushed towards them. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived above the Dark Blood Dark Rock Cliff, but those people were already gone. This is where those people disappeared. This should be the entrance. Standing above the Dark Blood Dark Rock Cliff, Mo Qingyun scanned the area for a while, then flew down in a flash. Mo Qingyun didn't fly far before a barrier blocked him, making him unable to move forward. Space shattered. Seeing that the path ahead was blocked, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate at all and immediately slashed forward with his sword. A dazzling sword light blasted out from the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and instantly pierced through the barrier. After blasting a hole in the barrier, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered. Mo Qingyun's vision blurred, and he arrived in a blood-red world. The surroundings were filled with dense blood qi. What dense dark blood? Sensing the surrounding blood qi, Mo Qingyun frowned, and a look of shock flashed across his eyes. Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling shocked, he also clearly felt a stream of blood qi drilling into his body. This blood qi seems to have a mind of its own and is drilling into my body. Realizing that there was something wrong with the surrounding blood qi, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately dispelled it. After dispelling the surrounding blood qi, Mo Qingyun was puzzled and said, This place is so dangerous. Why did those people before come here? With a strong sense of curiosity, Mo Qingyun didn't stay any longer and slowly went deeper into the Dark Blood Dark Rock Cliff. Mo Qingyun didn't walk far before a giant blood-red bird appeared in front of him. This is the Dark Blood Dark Rock. Mo Qingyun stopped when he saw the blood-red birds. He didn't want to disturb them. The underworld Crimson Dark Rock's strength wasn't too strong. It was basically at the universe realm. With Mo Qingyun's current cultivation, he was not afraid of these underworld blood dark rocks. However, if Mo Qingyun was entangled by them, it would be troublesome and he would have to expend a lot of energy. The dangers inside the underworld blood dark rock cliff were unknown. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Mo Qingyun did not want to add to the trouble. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and descended from the sky, preparing to carefully travel along the ground. Under Mo Qingyun's careful travel, he avoided the underworld blood-dark rocks and arrived at a huge city. Around the city, there were many pedestrians walking around, making the city look very prosperous. I didn't expect that there would be some cities hidden in the dark blood-dark rock cliff. Looking at the city in the distance, Mo Qingyun's eyes were filled with shock. He had originally thought that such a dangerous place would be rarely visited by people. Filled with curiosity and surprise, Mo Qingyun slowly approached the city, wanting to take a look inside. However, the closer he got to the city, the more Mo Qingyun felt that something was wrong. The people in the city were moving slowly, their expressions were dull, and their gazes were dull. They looked very abnormal. These people's consciousnesses seemed to have been sealed by someone. When he saw these people's abnormal behavior, Mo Qingyun frowned and immediately raised his guard. These people's cultivations were all at the eternal realm. Being able to make eternal realm powerhouses like this was enough to prove that this place wasn't simple. Mo Qingyun raised his guard and slowly approached the city, arriving at the entrance. It's those people from before. They actually entered the city. Standing at the entrance of the city, Mo Qingyun saw a group of familiar figures and approached them. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, passing through the pedestrians in the city and arriving near those people. It's her. Mo Qingyun approached those people and discovered an acquaintance among them. Why is she here? Based on her current behavior, it seems like she doesn't know that she is in deep danger. The figure that Mo Qingyun discovered was Zhu Lin, whom he had had a conflict with outside the Dark Spirit Flood Dragon's cave. As Mo Qingyun observed, he saw a man in green robes walk over to Zhu Lin and the others and say, "The demon master has been waiting for a long time. Come with me." Hearing the green-robed man's words, one of the elders in Zhu Lin's group immediately nodded respectfully. Zhu Lin's expression changed when she saw the old man's actions. She was shocked and said, "Elder Fu Lin, who is he? How do you know him?" "That's not something you should ask. Just follow me obediently." In response to Zhu Lin's question, the old man's expression turned cold as he replied in a displeased tone. Zhu Lin's pretty face sank when she saw the old man's attitude. "Fu Lin, please watch your attitude in front of me." Humph. Fu Lin did not care about Zhu Lin's displeasure. He snorted lightly and said, "Little girl, do you still think this is the Blazing Fire True Yang sect? If you don't want to suffer, you'd better be sensible for this old man." Zhu Lin clenched her teeth when she saw Fu Lin's attitude. She was enraged. She really hadn't expected that an elder who usually obeyed her would actually dare to speak to her in such a manner. "Let's go." The green-robed man glanced at Zhu Lin and the others impatiently and urged Fu Lin and the others. Then, Zhu Lin helplessly followed Fu Lin and the others. "Demon Master? A Sector Lord expert?" Mo Qingyun frowned when he heard the conversation between Fu Lin and the others. "I didn't expect that there would be a Sector Lord expert hiding here. It's no wonder that Eternity Realm experts can't leave this place." At this moment, Mo Qingyun had a clear answer to the doubts in his heart. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. Then, he quietly followed behind, wanting to see what secrets were hidden within. Outside the underworld blood-dark rock cliff. "Junior brother Chung Luo, why don't you go with junior brother Mo? It will be much easier with him." A group of people came down from the flying boat. The young man who led the group tried to persuade them helplessly. Chung Luo's face darkened when he heard the young man's words, and he said, "Senior brother Huang, Mo Qingyun is ruthless and overbearing. If we travel with him and obtain treasures, will we still have a share in it?" Huang Benmo shook his head and didn't argue with Chung Luo's explanation. Based on his experience with Mo Qingyun, he knew that Mo Qingyun wasn't that kind of person. Otherwise, Mo Qingyun wouldn't have handed over so many treasures to Wang Huani after returning from the Gufan Blessed Land. "All right, let's go in." Huang Benmo put away the flying boat and walked into the underworld blood-dark rock cliff without hesitation. Seeing Huang Benmo's actions, Chung Luo and the others no longer hesitated and followed behind Huang Benmo. Chapter 2846. After a short while, he arrived before an altar with Mo Qingyun following him. Blood ponds were dug around the altar, emitting a terrifying bloody aura. Mo Qingyun's expression shook when he saw this scene. He felt a sense of familiarity. The layout of this altar seems to be related to the Dark Devil race. Could the demon lord they speak of be a sector lord of the Dark Devil race? Mo Qingyun was shocked when he thought of this. He was frightened by this discovery. If that was the case, the situation was a little terrifying. Since it's related to the Dark Devil race, I can't sit by and do nothing. As soon as Mo Qingyun thought about it, he stopped hesitating and made a decision. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, the green-robed man bowed towards the altar. "Commander, I brought them here. How should we deal with them?" "Green-robe, you've done well. Your method is very effective." Hearing the green-robed man's words, a voice sounded from the altar. It was filled with majesty. Then, Mo Qingyun saw an old man in gray robes walk out of the altar and say, "There are a total of 11 eternal grade martialists. The quality this time is very high. What are you going to do to us?" Looking at the gray-robed elder, Zhu Lin's pretty face darkened as she shouted loudly at him. The gray-robed elder's expression darkened when he heard Zhu Lin's words. He waved his hand at her. Then, a terrifying force enveloped Zhu Lin. Pung! The force enveloped Zhu Lin and pressed her down. She spat out a mouthful of blood. After that, Zhu Lin's aura weakened, and a strand of terror surged into his eyes. The elder before her was too terrifying. He was even stronger than the sect master of the blazing fire True Sun sect. Sector Lord Realm. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the gray-robed elder attack. He could sense his strength. What shocked Mo Qingyun the most was that the Sector Lord Realm elder didn't seem to be the true leader. A Sector Lord Realm expert was only the leader. From this, one could imagine how powerful the master of the underworld Blood Dark Rock Cliff was. From the looks of it, I have underestimated the strength of the underworld Blood Dark Rock Cliff. Currently, it is very difficult for me to contend against them. After witnessing the other party's strength, Mo Qingyun had a plan. He did not want to fight with them for the time being. The current situation was not particularly optimistic for him. "Little fellow, you've been watching from the side for so long. Aren't you going to come out and meet me?" Just as Mo Qingyun was about to leave, the leader smiled coldly and raised his hand to grab Mo Qingyun. The big boss stretched out his palm, and a terrifying power blasted out. It turned into a huge palm shadow that enveloped Mo Qingyun. Break! Facing the palm shadow's capture, Mo Qingyun did not allow himself to be captured. He immediately slashed out with his sword. As Mo Qingyun waved his sword, an imposing sword light shot out from the Nine-Oxen Divine Sword. Bang! When the sword light and the palm shadow collided, an earth-shattering sound was heard and a terrifying shockwave erupted. Under the impact of this shockwave, several blood pools in the surroundings were overbearingly blasted apart. The big boss's expression changed when he saw this scene. Shock appeared in his eyes. He had never imagined that an initial stage Eternal Realm kid would be able to block his palm. "It's him." Zhu Lin's pretty face changed when she saw that Mo Qingyun had been forced out by the big boss. Shock appeared in her eyes. While she was shocked, she was also secretly delighted, and her mood became a little excited. In her opinion, she might have a chance to escape while Mo Qingyun was fighting with his opponent. Extraordinary indeed. No wonder you could hide from green-robe senses. The first commander calmed himself down and smiled faintly. He said, "The fact that you have such battle prowess shows that you are very talented. Perhaps the Demon Master will be more interested in the bloodline in your body. If you want the bloodline in my body, we'll have to see if you have the ability to do so." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly when he heard the big boss's words. He had a disdainful expression on his face. Although he couldn't face the big boss head-on, the big boss might not be able to stop him if he wanted to escape. "Interesting. Let this old man play with you for a bit." The big boss's expression turned cold when he saw Mo Qingyun's attitude. He attacked Mo Qingyun again. As the big boss made his move, a mysterious and powerful force was emitted from his body. Mo Qingyun felt like he was being crushed by heaven and earth when he was enveloped by this force. He couldn't resist at all. Great path intent. After Enchin's explanation, Mo Qingyun was no longer unfamiliar with sector lords. Knowing that the big boss was using great path intent, Mo Qingyun didn't dare hesitate and immediately activated Gu Fan's great path intent. As soon as Gu Fan's great path intent was unleashed, the big boss's great path intent immediately collapsed. In a short while, the great path intent that enveloped Mo Qingyun was overbearingly destroyed. The big boss was shocked when he saw this. His face was filled with shock. Great path intent. He has actually comprehended a great path intent. Moreover, it's a great path intent that's even stronger than the Demon Master's. This discovery frightened the head commander quite a bit. He looked at Mo Qingyun with fear and asked, "Who are you? Why have you come to the Dark Rock Cliff? Why are you interfering in our matters?" The big boss asked several questions in a row. It was obvious that he was panicking. In response to the big boss's question, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "You don't have to care about who I am. You also don't have the right to care about why I'm here. As for why I'm interfering in your matters, you can't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for attacking me." The big boss's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's answer. He said angrily, "Kid, I advise you to mind your own business. No matter how strong your background is, our matters aren't something you can interfere in." "I'm sorry. I've always liked to interfere in the matters of the Dark Devil race." Mo Qingyun ignored the big boss's warning and retorted with a tough attitude. Mo Qingyun believed that the big boss was only warning him verbally. He probably didn't have the confidence to deal with him. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so much nonsense. He would just capture and kill him directly. The big boss's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. A strong murderous intent rose in his heart. Sensing the big boss's murderous intent, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. "It looks like my guess was right. This place is indeed related to the Dark Devil race." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had seen through his secret, the big boss no longer concealed it. He said coldly, "Originally, I wouldn't have made things difficult for you if you had retreated in the face of difficulties. However, it's too late now. You must die today." After the big boss finished speaking, his figure flashed and charged at Mo Qingyun once again. Chapter 28:47. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but if we fight, it's hard to say who will die. Mo Qingyun was not the least bit afraid of the Grand Commander's attack and replied indifferently. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he swung his sword and slashed out a dazzling sword ray. Time like light. Ignores defense. Time prohibition. Great path intent. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he released several types of laws and added them to the sword ray. With the support of the power of the laws, the sword ray's power was immediately multiplied. The power of an ant. In the face of the sword ray's attack, the Grand Commander's face was full of contempt, and he casually threw out a palm. Soon, an imposing palm shadow blasted out from his right palm. The sword ray's attack did not seem to be obstructed by the palm shadow. It directly pierced through and arrived in front of the Grand Commander. How could this be? Seeing this abnormal scene, the Grand Commander was stunned, and his brain could not process what had just happened. This situation was really strange to him. Slash! Before the Grand Commander could react, the sword ray hit him and sent him flying. Seeing the Grand Commander being sent flying, the green-robed man was shocked and immediately flew to the Grand Commander's side. The green-robed man helped the Grand Commander up and asked anxiously, "Grand Commander, how are your injuries? That kid is too strange. Should we inform the Demon Lord? My injuries are not serious. I was careless just now and fell for his attack." The Grand Commander waved his hand and rejected the green-robed man's suggestion. He looked coldly at Mo Qingyun and said, "Kid, I admit that I underestimated you and suffered a loss at your hands. However, the battle between you and me should end here. After the Grand Commander finished speaking, he did not hesitate and once again flew towards Mo Qingyun. Don't be so full of yourself. Otherwise, you'll be slapping yourself in the face later. Looking at the Grand Commander who was attacking him, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all and replied indifferently. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he no longer hesitated and once again slashed out with his sword. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, a terrifying and domineering power quietly spread throughout his body. Immediately after, this energy gathered on the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and transformed into a terrifying sword ray that blasted out. Ignore defense. Time freeze. Great Tao concept. The moment Mo Qingyun made his move, he similarly did not hold back in the slightest, releasing one kind of law after another. Soon, the aura emitted by the sword light reached its peak. Seeing the incoming sword light, the commander revealed a disdainful smile. Mockery appeared in his eyes as he said, "Brat, it's impossible for you to use the same move on me twice." As soon as the Grand Commander finished speaking, he prepared to dodge the bombardment of the sword light. That might not be the case. Seeing the Grand Commander's actions, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up as a mocking look appeared in his eyes. Just now, he had used the spatial gate and obtained the double spatial imprisonment law. Even though the Grand Commander was a sector lord, facing the double spatial imprisonment law, he was unable to remain unaffected. Spatial imprisonment. With a thought, Mo Qingyun released the spatial imprisonment law from his body. Then, the spatial confinement law shrouded the Grand Commander and restricted his mobility. How can his spatial imprisonment law be so powerful? Seeing that he was unable to move, the Grand Commander's expression trembled and his face was filled with shock. The more he fought with Mo Qingyun, the more he discovered that Mo Qingyun was strange. Every one of Mo Qingyun's abhijna was different from ordinary and much stronger than ordinary. This kind of situation gave him a headache, and he had a feeling that his strength was falling short of his desire. Pucci. While the Grand Commander was still in shock, the sword light struck him again and sent him flying. After being injured by Mo Qingyun again, the Grand Commander's aura was clearly much weaker than before. He's actually so strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Zhu Lin's pretty face was filled with shock, and her beautiful eyes were wide open. She vaguely remembered that when she fought with Mo Qingyun previously, Mo Qingyun wasn't much stronger than her. In just a short period of time, the gap between her and Mo Qingyun's strength had actually reached such a level. While Zhu Lin was shocked, she also felt a little emotional. The gap between her and Mo Qingyun was getting bigger and bigger. Looks like I hit the nail on the head. You were too confident and slapped your own face again. After sending the Grand Commander flying again, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and stabbed his sword at him. Mo Qingyun's sword thrust out and immediately slashed out a sword light that flew towards the senior commander. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he released several laws that enveloped the Grand Commander. Under the multiple laws, the Grand Commander's body stiffened and his movements were restricted. No, seeing the sword light getting closer and closer, the Grand Commander finally panicked. Fear appeared on his face, and he shouted angrily, "Brat, you forced me to do this. Don't just watch. Everyone, attack him." Seeing that he was no match for Mo Qingyun, the Grand Commander roared angrily and ordered his subordinates to attack Mo Qingyun. Under the Grand Commander's command, the figures hidden in the dark rushed towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing these people attacking, Mo Qingyun's attacks weakened a bit, and he gave up on chasing after the Grand Commander. Mo Qingyun retreated and swung his sword in all directions, slashing out a crescent-shaped sword ray. The sword light swept out and spread out like a blue wave. In the blink of an eye, it hit the people attacking. Bang, bang, bang. Facing the onslaught of the sword rays, those people were unable to resist at all and were immediately sent flying by the sword rays. In just one exchange, half of the people attacking Mo Qingyun were overbearingly repelled. When they saw this, the senior commander and the others immediately tensed up. From the looks of the situation, With their strength, it was impossible to resist Mo Qingyun. Just as the Grand Commander and the others were panicking, a terrifying aura exploded from the altar. When this aura exploded, it crushed down on Mo Qingyun and forced Mo Qingyun to retreat. As Mo Qingyun was pushed back, a terrifying palm that could cover the sky blasted towards him. So powerful! Sensing the aura of the giant palm, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately swung his sword at it. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he activated Gu Fan's power to increase his strength. He was very clear that with his strength, he would not be able to block this palm head-on. The Nine-Bull Divine sword slashed out, and a peerlessly domineering force blasted out from the sword. When the sword light blasted out, it turned into a stream of light and collided with the palm shadow. Bang! When the sword light hit the palm shadow, there was a loud explosion and the palm shadow was instantly dispersed. However, after the sword light dispersed the palm shadow, it also slowly dissipated. Seeing Mo Qingyun scatter the palm image, a bewildered voice came from within the altar. "What are you doing?" Chapter 28:48. "You're quite capable." The voice came from the altar again. Then he attacked Mo Qingyun again and extended his palm towards Mo Qingyun. The black mist above the altar surged as waves of terrifying saint energy converged and turned into a huge shadow of a palm. After the palm shadow was formed, it gave off a feeling as though it was the sky. What a terrifying Great Way essence! Mo Qingyun was shocked when he sensed the aura of the palm shadow. His eyes were filled with shock. He had the urge to bow down and worship the Great Way essence. He did not even dare to think about resisting. Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless and immediately activated Gu Fan's Great Way essence. Once Gu Fan's Great Way essence was activated, the powerful pressure immediately disappeared. Fortunately, I also have the Great Way essence. Otherwise, I would be like an ant in front of him. At this moment, Mo Qingyun had a new understanding of how terrifying a Sector Lord was. He said, "Compared to this person, the commander who fought with me just now is not a real Sector Lord. He's only a fake Sector Lord." After calming himself down, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately activated Gu Fan's power. As Gu Fan's power was activated, Mo Qingyun's aura immediately soared. Mo Qingyun swung his sword again and slashed out an even stronger sword light towards the huge palm shadow. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he did not hesitate and immediately retreated. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Following the loud noise, a terrifying shockwave swept out in all directions. When the blast exploded, Mo Qingyun had already retreated and was not enveloped by the blast. This person is too strong. Even if I use all my strength, it will be difficult for me to fight against him. After exchanging a few blows, Mo Qingyun had an answer and did not want to waste any more time. Then, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer and immediately turned to leave. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to leave, Zhu Lin's face trembled and revealed a panicked expression. She begged, "Mo Qingyun, please take me with you." Hearing Zhu Lin's voice, Mo Qingyun paused and turned to look at her. Mo Qingyun glanced at her. He swung his sword to the side, sending out a sharp sword ray, and said, "Whether or not you can escape will depend on your luck." The sword light flashed and immediately hit the people guarding Zhu Lin, sending them flying. After Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he didn't stay any longer and immediately turned to leave. "Brat, you can't escape. Stay here obediently." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to leave, the Dark Devil race experts on the altar immediately chased after him. As for Zhu Lin and the rest by the side, he completely ignored them and did not care about them at all. A figure flew out from the altar and rapidly chased after Mo Qingyun, giving off a terrifying bloody aura. As the figure flew, the sky was dyed red as if the end of the world had arrived. What speed! Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw the figure arrive in an instant. His expression became tense. Based on the current situation, it would not be easy for him to shake off the figure. Very soon, Mo Qingyun's path was blocked. An old man in blood-red robes stood in front of him. Since I can't shake you off, I'll just have to face you head-on. Seeing that his path was blocked, Mo Qingyun no longer tried to escape. He stopped and stood facing the former. When Mo Qingyun saw the old man, he did not hesitate at all and immediately used the space gate and time gate. Soon, two doors of light that emitted a mysterious power entered his body. Spatial imprisonment, time prohibition. After the two gates of light entered his body, the power of two laws was born in his body. After obtaining two new laws, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. A faint smile appeared on his face. With these two laws, it would be much easier for him to deal with the old man. Kid, why aren't you running anymore? Weren't you running pretty fast just now? Blocking Mo Qingyun's path, the demon lord of the dark devil race sneered. He was like a sinister viper. Under the old man's gaze, Mo Qingyun's expression became tense. He raised his guard and said, "The place just now was too small. I couldn't fight there. It's more suitable here. You want to fight me? You sure talk big," Yi Futian said. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the demon lord of the dark demon race snorted coldly. His expression immediately darkened. He said, "Kid, even Li Kuan back then did not dare to talk so big in front of me, Zihi. Li Kuan is Li Kuan, and I am me." Mo Qingyun shrugged indifferently, looking unconcerned. He said, "Besides, you're not at your prime now. It's not impossible for me to kill you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zihi immediately became even more furious. He was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. Making an initial stage Eternity Realm Jr. look down on and ridicule him like this was something he had never encountered before. "Arrogant brat, die!" Zihi roared angrily. He raised his palm and swung it at Mo Qingyun. Then, a violent and domineering power blasted out from Zihi's palm. Facing Zihi's attack, Mo Qingyun did not retreat in the slightest. He took the initiative to meet the attack. Time prohibition. When Mo Qingyun rushed towards Zihi, he executed time law and prohibited the river of time in the surroundings. Then, everything in the surroundings was prohibited. Zihi's attack also stopped. It was just that he was not an ordinary person after all, merely being imprisoned for a moment. He broke the dual time prohibition law. Although he broke the dual time prohibition law, Mo Qingyun's attack earlier also frightened him considerably. He said in surprise, "This brat's time prohibition law is actually so powerful. It's even stronger than my time prohibition law." At the same time that Zihi was shocked in his heart, he did not hesitate at all and continued to swing his palm at Mo Qingyun. When Zihi made his move, Mo Qingyun had already approached and slashed down at him with a sword. Ignore defense. Dual spatial prohibition law. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he unleashed the power of laws, increasing the power of his sword. Facing the incoming sword light, Zihi did not dare to be careless. He immediately turned around and wanted to avoid the sword light. It was just that what shocked him was that the space around him was sealed by a domineering law again. Seeing this situation, Zihi's expression trembled, panic arising in his heart, because he discovered that the spatial prohibition law that Mo Qingyun released was even stronger by him again. While Zihi was in a daze, the sword light arrived in front of him, making him fall into a situation where he could not avoid. "Break for me." Seeing that he was unable to avoid, Zihi slammed a palm out, welcoming the approaching sword light. Zihi's palm image could not block the sword light. It could even be said to be completely useless. Pucci! The sword light flashed past, directly penetrating the palm image and slamming onto Zihi's body. Immediately, Zihi flew out backward, his face full of disbelief. Chapter 2849. This brat's ability is so strange. It can actually ignore all defenses. Zihi wasn't an ordinary person. He quickly calmed down from his shock and discovered the characteristics of Mo Qingyun's sword move. Understanding this, he revealed a cold smile. His eyes flickered with a cold light as he said, "Brat, you do indeed have many tricks up your sleeve. I was careless and even fell for it. But your strength is still too weak after all. This level of attack can't hurt me." As Zihi's words fell, the aura he emitted began to rise rapidly. Looking at his performance, Mo Qingyun's sword move earlier didn't seem to have injured him. As expected of a Sector Lord powerhouse, you're indeed extraordinarily powerful. Sensing Zihi's aura, Mo Qingyun's brows were tightly knitted together. The pressure became even greater. Looking at the current situation, it wasn't an easy task for him to kill Zihi. After confronting Zihi for a while, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile and said, "If I can't hurt you once, I'll do it a few more times. If I'm not wrong, your injuries haven't fully recovered yet, right?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zihi's expression tensed up and his face darkened. Mo Qingyun's guess was right. His injuries had indeed not fully recovered. Attacking Mo Qingyun now was because he had no choice. If he didn't attack, Mo Qingyun would kill the Grand Commander and the others. It was equivalent to breaking his left and right arms. "Even if my injuries haven't fully recovered, it's still enough to deal with you." Z snorted coldly. He didn't talk nonsense with Mo Qingyun and attacked Mo Qingyun again. Z put his hands together. Saint power gathered wildly in his palms and turned into a huge blood shadow in the blink of an eye. Once the blood shadow was formed, it emitted a monstrous pressure that enveloped Mo Qingyun. At the same time, the terrifying blood cloud in the sky was also gathering rapidly. In a short while, the blood cloud in the sky turned into a huge blood palm. Bang! As the bloody palm slammed down, space collapsed, and a series of heaven-shaking sounds were heard. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw this scene. His mind quickly spun, and he said, "Zihi's palm strike is too powerful. With my own strength, I'm afraid that I won't be able to take it head-on. How should I deal with it?" As Mo Qingyun pondered, his mind contacted Enchun, wanting him to come out and help him fight. What made Mo Qingyun feel a little helpless was that Enchun was at a critical moment in his cultivation and could not come out to help him in the battle. However, although Enchun was unable to attack, he had given them a method. If that's the case, let's give it a try. Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He immediately took out Gu Fan's corpse and placed it in front of him. As Gu Fan's body was taken out, a terrifying aura was emitted from his body. Under the cover of this aura, the entire world changed color, and the blood clouds in the sky were also diluted. That's a quasi-emperor, looking at Gu Fan in front of Mo Qingyun. He was frightened until his body trembled. His eyes were filled with horror. Gu Fan's sudden appearance had indeed frightened him. Even if Gu Fan's cultivation was greatly damaged, it was also not what he could contend with. Kill. Summoning Gu Fan out, Mo Qingyun threw out the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and controlled Gu Fan's corpse to catch it. Once the Nine-Bull Divine Sword was in hand, Gu Fan's corpse swung out, slashing out a sword light that could obliterate heaven and earth. When the sword light flew out, it created a terrifying storm that soared into the sky like a black dragon. Poochie Poochie. Under the bombardment of the sword light, the blood-colored giant palm was instantly crushed and engulfed by the black dragon storm. After defeating the blood-colored palm shadow, the offensive power of the black dragon storm did not diminish and continued flying toward the sky. Bang! Under the impact of the black dragon storm, the blood fog that enveloped the underworld blood dark rock cliff was immediately dissipated. The blood fog dissipated, and the light of the underworld blood dark rock cliff gradually became bright. Who would have thought that this kid actually has a quasi-emperor expert guarding over here? Retreat. Seeing the strength that Gu Fan displayed, Zihi did not dare to stay any longer and turned into a ball of blood-colored light to escape. With regards to Zihi's escape, Mo Qingyun did not chase after him and sent Gu Fan to the Fortune mainland. After sending Gu Fan to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed, and his face became a little pale. Fortunately, I scared Zihe away. Mo Qingyun sat cross-legged on the ground with a lingering expression. He took a deep breath and said, "If it happened again, it might awaken Gu Fan. At that time, there would be internal and external troubles, and my situation would really be bad." Mo Qingyun sighed with emotion, then sat cross-legged to adjust his breathing, recovering the energy he had expended in the battle. Although the battle just now was short, fighting with an expert like Zihe, whether it was the mental state or the victory, the energy consumption was extremely terrifying. While Mo Qingyun was adjusting his breathing, a group of people quickly entered the underworld blood-dark rock cliff, and each of them had an excited expression. A young man at the front of the group had an excited expression as he said to the scholarly young man beside him, "Senior Brother Huang, that black fog that soared into the sky just now must be some kind of treasure appearing. Let's hurry over immediately." Junior Brother Qingluo, the underworld blood-dark rock cliff is full of danger. It's better to be careful. Hearing the former's words, Huang Binmo's expression tensed, and he reminded in a heavy tone. Qingluo did not take Huang Binmo's reminder to heart and said indifferently, "Senior Brother Huang, you're too cautious. Don't forget, Mo Qingyun also came to the underworld blood-dark rock cliff. That kid is cunning. If we're too slow, he will take the initiative." Hearing Cheng Luo's words, Huang Binmo did not say anything, shaking his head as he followed closely behind. A while later, they arrived near Mo Qingyun and saw Mo Qingyun sitting cross-legged in cultivation. Mo Qingyun is over there. That annoying guy is indeed one step ahead of us. Seeing Mo Qingyun sitting cross-legged in cultivation, Cheng Luo's face darkened, and a faint murderous intent emanated from him. Sensing Cheng Luo's murderous intent, Huang Binmo's expression turned solemn as a sense of dissatisfaction arose in his heart. He said, "Junior Brother Cheng Luo, treasures of heaven and earth belong to those who are fated to obtain them. Since Junior Brother Mo is one step ahead of us, it means that he is more suitable than us. You must not act impulsively, or you will be consigned to eternal damnation." Cheng Luo ignored Huang Binmo's advice, a cold light flashing in his eyes as he said, "Senior Brother Huang, this is a matter between me and him. I hope you won't interfere." As Cheng Luo's words fell, his figure moved, and he flew towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing Cheng Luo's actions, Huang Binmo immediately panicked and shouted, "Junior Brother Cheng Luo, quickly stop." At this moment, several figures rapidly approached Mo Qingyun's direction. That person is going to do something to Mo Qingyun. The leader of the group, a beautiful figure, immediately rushed towards Cheng Luo when she saw that he was going to do something to Mo Qingyun. The beautiful figure arrived in front of Mo Qingyun in a few flashes, protecting him behind her. Seeing this scene, Cheng Luo's eyes turned blood red as he furiously shouted, "Scram to the side, or I'll kill you too." Chapter 2850. The battle between the two was about to erupt, and they fought fiercely in the air. Due to Zhu Lin being injured, she was suppressed very quickly in the exchange of blows. After suppressing Zhu Lin, Cheng Luo sneered and said proudly, "Your injuries are so serious, yet you dare to stop me. I think you're tired of living." Cheng Luo was proud, and his attacks became stronger. Soon, Zhu Lin was sent flying. Bang! Zhu Lin's body crashed into the ground like a meteor. After Cheng Luo sent Zhu Lin flying with a palm strike, the pride on his face became even more apparent. "Today, I'll be merciful and let the two of you become a pair of lovebirds." Cheng Luo's attacks didn't weaken as he spoke, and he sent a palm towards Mo Qingyun without hesitation. When Cheng Luo attacked, waves of powerful auras enveloped the area. Sensing these auras, Huang Binmo and the others were shocked and quickly turned their heads to look. "Not good, they've caught up. Let's run." Those who were escaping with Zhu Lin immediately panicked when they saw the commander and the others chasing after them. Then, they didn't hesitate and immediately fled out of the underworld blood-dark rock cliff. Junior brother Cheng Luo, the quasi-sector lord experts are here. Let's go. Huang Binmo was nervous when he saw the arrival of the commander and the others. He immediately warned Cheng Luo. Cheng Luo hesitated when he heard Huang Binmo's words. He was considering whether to continue killing Mo Qingyun or to immediately turn and flee. While Cheng Luo was hesitating, the commander arrived and saw Mo Qingyun sitting cross-legged and healing. Demon Lord guessed correctly. That kid is indeed injured. After discovering Mo Qingyun's condition, the commander sent a palm strike towards Cheng Luo, sending out a shocking palm shadow. Cheng Luo's face paled when he saw the commander attacking him, and he retracted his attack towards Mo Qingyun. Immediately after, Cheng Luo used all of his strength to block the Grand Commander's attack. However, the difference in strength between Cheng Luo and the commander was too great. Bang! Under the Grand Commander's palm, Cheng Luo was unable to resist and was instantly sent flying. Cheng Luo flew backward and crashed into a mountain peak. He spat out blood and his face was pale. After sending Cheng Luo flying with a palm strike, the first commander turned to look at Mo Qingyun. He sneered and said, "Brat, I didn't expect you to have so many enemies. You even ran into them here. If this old man hadn't come, you would be dead." That might not be the case. As soon as the commander finished speaking, Mo Qingyun opened his eyes and looked at him with a faint smile. Seeing Mo Qingyun withdraw from his cultivation, the surrounding people were shocked and felt an immense pressure. At this moment, they couldn't help but wonder if Mo Qingyun had already stopped cultivating. If that was the case, Cheng Luo's actions just now were very dangerous. Ignoring everyone's shock, Mo Qingyun turned to look at Cheng Luo with a mocking smile. "Do you really think that you have the ability to kill me if I don't retaliate?" Cheng Luo was stunned when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He didn't have the slightest bit of confidence. The more he interacted with Mo Qingyun, the more he felt that he couldn't see through Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Cheng Luo didn't speak, Mo Qingyun didn't stop talking. He continued, "The reason why I didn't attack is because I don't even need to attack you. Mo Qingyun's disdainful words made Cheng Luo so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. After mocking Cheng Luo, Mo Qingyun looked at the commander and said, "If I was seriously injured, why would I be here recuperating? All of you are still alive." Mo Qingyun's words immediately frightened the chief commander quite badly. A vigilant look appeared on his face. Ignoring the commander's shock, Mo Qingyun walked out of the dark rock cliff after he finished speaking. Although he wasn't seriously injured, he had expended a lot of energy and needed to recuperate. When he saw that Mo Qingyun was about to leave, the commander frowned and hesitated. Should he stop him or not? If Mo Qingyun was bluffing, it would be a huge mistake to let him leave so easily. However, if Mo Qingyun wasn't injured, the consequences of stopping him from leaving would be terrible. The commander hesitated for a bit, but didn't stop him in the end. This was because the risk of stopping Mo Qingyun was too great. It wasn't something he could afford to take. If Mo Qingyun can't stop him, then everyone else can forget about leaving. Seeing that he couldn't do anything to Mo Qingyun, the commander vented his anger on the others. The commander waved his right hand and ordered the people behind him, "Besides Mo Qingyun, everyone else stays." Yes. When they heard the commander's order, Green Robe and the others immediately obeyed and attacked Huang Binmo and the others. When he saw the commander's actions, Mo Qingyun stopped in his tracks and glanced at Zhu Lin. "You can't touch her. You can do whatever you want with the others. Junior brother Mo, save us." Huang Binmo was nervous when he saw that Mo Qingyun was saving Zhu Lin. He hurriedly begged Mo Qingyun. Hearing Huang Binmo's request, Mo Qingyun's expression was indifferent as he said, "Originally, on account of our relationship as fellow disciples, I naturally couldn't leave you in the lurch. But when Cheng Luo attacked me just now, since you could turn a blind eye to it, I can do the same now." When Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he ignored Huang Binmo and the others and left with Zhu. He couldn't turn a blind eye to Zhu fearless attempt to stop Cheng Luo from attacking him. "Thank you." When she saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Zhu face lit up, and she hurriedly thanked Mo Qingyun. At this moment, her heart was filled with joy. Fortunately, she had stopped Cheng Luo from attacking. What made Zhu the most happy was that this incident had weakened the enmity between her and Mo Qingyun. In her opinion, if Mo Qingyun hated her, he wouldn't care whether she lived or died. Attack! Seeing that Mo Qingyun had left with Zhu, the commander no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Huang Binmo and the others. Soon, miserable screams came from behind Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun turned a deaf ear to those screams as if it had nothing to do with him. Without the cover of the blood mist, Mo Qingyun quickly left the underworld blood-dark rock cliff. He stood in midair and looked down. Neither the underworld dragon cave nor the underworld blood-dark rock cliff is the cave residence of the Kuan realm master. It seems that only the black serene broken dragon valley is left. When Mo Qingyun thought about it, he no longer hesitated and prepared to go to the black serene broken dragon valley. When Zhu saw that Mo Qingyun was about to leave, she was shocked and hurriedly shouted at him, "You're going to the black serene broken dragon valley?" "That's right." Mo Qingyun stopped and nodded to Zhu, saying, "You're safe now. You don't have to continue following me. I know some secrets about the 3 perilous places. If you bring me along, it might be useful to you." When Zhu heard Mo Qingyun's words, she immediately explained with joy on her face. "It's easy to get lost here if we walk aimlessly like this." After walking for a while in the black fog, Mo Qingyun stopped and didn't walk aimlessly. Hearing Mo Qingyun's concern, Zhu took out the key and handed it to Mo Qingyun. She said, "There's a traction force on this key. Follow its guidance, and we should be able to find the location of the Kuan's cave mansion." Seeing that Zhu handed the key to him, Mo Qingyun was slightly stunned and a tinge of surprise flashed in his eyes. After being slightly surprised, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much and followed the guidance of the key. Sure enough, with the guidance of the key, their journey was much smoother. Gradually, a huge, faintly discernible palace entered his line of sight. "Found it!" Seeing the huge palace in front of them, Zhu smiled in surprise and pointed in front of them excitedly. After discovering the existence of the Kuan's cave mansion, Mo Qingyun quickened his pace and rushed towards the palace. As they got closer to the palace, Missouri Qingyun felt that something was wrong and became more vigilant. No, the formations and restrictions along the way seemed to have been broken. After discovering the broken formations and restrictions, Mo Qingyun realized that something was wrong and slowed down his pace. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhu face tensed up and she was worried. She said, "It is rumored that Li Kuan had 9 disciples. They are Su Heng, Fan Yu, Cha Xing, Jia Mo, Xing Shuang, Yimin, Zhou Jie, Zhuan Wu, and Zhao. When the lord of the Kuan territory died, he handed the 9 keys to the Kuan's cave mansion to them. The key in my hand seems to be from Su Heng. I don't know about the others." After hearing Zhu explanation, Mo Qingyun understood even more. "From the looks of it, the people walking in front of us might be them," Li Chia said. Mo Qingyun was even more vigilant as he speculated that it was Li Kuan's disciples who had broken the formations and restrictions. He said, "It doesn't matter if they are in front of us. We should be careful to avoid being in a passive position and being in danger." Zhu nodded. Following this, Mo Qingyun and Zhu cautiously approached the palace. As they approached the palace, Missouri Qingyun's uneasiness grew stronger. He said, "We are unlucky. Judging from the traces of the formations, They shouldn't have been broken for long. If I'm not mistaken, they should be not far ahead. What should we do? Zhu Lin's face tensed when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She immediately asked Mo Qingyun. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was undoubtedly the backbone in her heart. Let's slow down and let them break the formations along the way. We'll just follow them. Mo Qingyun's mind spun, and he had a plan. He slowed down his pace. Then, Mo Qingyun and Zhu Lin walked forward carefully, approaching the palace bit by bit. Time passed slowly. A few hours later, Mo Qingyun and Zhu Lin slowly arrived at the front of the palace. They saw 9 doors that led to different directions. At this moment, a few figures walked out from nearby and sneered at them. "Oh no, we've been ambushed." Mo Qingyun's heart shook when he saw the figures appear. He felt a strong sense of uneasiness. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he released his soul power and sensed their cultivation. After sensing for a while, Mo Qingyun's heart turned cold and his face turned extremely ugly. There were a total of 5 people, and all of them were sector lords. Although the 5 of them weren't as strong as he individually, they weren't something the Grand Commander could compare to. If the 5 of them joined forces, even he would be slightly inferior. Even if I summon Gu Fan, I might not be able to defeat the 5 of them. What should I do? After knowing their cultivation, Mo Qingyun had a myriad of thoughts as he pondered on how to resolve the crisis. While Mo Qingyun's heart was heavy, Zhu Lin's face was pale and she looked helpless. Chapter 2852. Kid, you've got a pretty good plan. You actually want us to be your coolies. Did you really think we didn't notice you hiding in the back? We haven't made a move yet, mainly because it's inconvenient to make a move on the way. We might trigger some formation restrictions. Hand over Su Heng's key, and we'll give you a quick death. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of them, they sneered. Hearing their words, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. With a calm expression, he said, "All 5 of you want the key. Who should we give it to?" "Stinking brat. You're still trying to sow discord in our current situation." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, a dark-faced, brawny man among them immediately shouted at Mo Qingyun. Then, without saying anything more to Mo Qingyun, he immediately made a move on Mo Qingyun. Seeing the brawny man's actions, a middle-aged scholar holding a fire pen said unhurriedly, "John Mo, don't be in a hurry to make a move. This kid is quite interesting. Let's hear what he has to say." "Oomph." The brawny man snorted coldly and stopped what he was doing. Then, the few of them stared coldly at Mo Qingyun. They wanted to see what Mo Qingyun was going to do. Under their gazes, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He had guessed their concerns. Tossing the key in his hand, Mo Qingyun said calmly, "If I'm not wrong, you didn't make a move on me because you were afraid that I would destroy the key, right?" The few of them were silent, but their expressions showed that they were moved. From the looks of it, Mo Qingyun had found out what they were thinking. Knowing the thoughts of these people, Mo Qingyun's expression became even more indifferent. He smiled faintly and said, "My share is not high either. The treasure's inside the cave. The 2 of us will each take a share." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expression of a young man with purple lips and a white face immediately became unsightly. He shouted, "Kid, don't go too far. Although the key in your hand is precious, we only have 8 pieces in total. We can't open the final treasury. So it's for the final treasury." Hearing this person's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. The doubts in his heart had been resolved. Understanding their intentions, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He took out another key and asked, "With this key, there shouldn't be any problems with my request, right?" He actually has a key as well. No wonder he explored all the danger zones. Seeing the key in Mo Qingyun's hand, Zhu Lin's beautiful eyes trembled, and the doubt in her heart was answered. In contrast to Zhu Lin's astonishment, Jia Mo and the others' faces were filled with excitement. "I didn't think that even Zerong's key would be in this kid's hands." Now that all 9 keys have been gathered, we can finally open the final treasury. After so many years, we can finally obtain the things that the old fellow has collected. It looks like it'll be very difficult to find the sacred eternal stone in this side hall. Mo Qingyun could not help but sigh after searching the entire side hall and not finding the sacred eternal stone. Then, he did not stay any longer and headed to the side hall of the Zaren Key. He also found many treasures in the side hall of the Zaren Key, but he still did not find the sacred eternal stone. Such an outcome made him feel helpless and a little disappointed. It looks like I can only see if there are any sacred eternal stones in the main hall. Mo Qingyun sighed inside when he emerged from the side hall of the Zaren Key. He went to meet up with Zhu Lin. It didn't take long for Mo Qingyun to arrive in front of everyone. He passed a storage ring to Zhu Lin and said, "I obtained some cultivation resources from the 2 branch halls. I'll give them to you. Take them and leave immediately." "Then what about you?" Zhu Lin's expression changed when she saw Mo Qingyun's actions. She was rather moved. With a gloomy face, he shouted coldly and slammed his palm towards Mo Qingyun. Gammo waved his hand, and a violent and overbearing saint power gathered in his palm. Gammo flipped his palm, and a huge palm shadow blasted out towards Mo Qingyun. "This kid is really looking for death. I told him to leave, but he didn't. Now he can't leave even if he wants to. It's good to get rid of him. Leaving him alive will always be a problem." Seeing Gammo attack, the rest agreed. As for Fan Yu, who had asked Mo Qingyun to leave, she stood there calmly and did not say anything. "You can't make me leave." Facing Gammo's attack, Mo Qingyun did not retreat. He immediately took out the divine sword of 9 bulls. With the divine sword of 9 bulls in hand, Mo Qingyun slashed out. The sword was full of light, and saint power gathered. The divine sword of 9 bulls flicked in the air, and a sharp sword light flew towards the palm shadow in the air. Puffed. The sword light hit the palm shadow and immediately pierced through it. The palm shadow was pierced through, and it dissipated bit by bit. Soon it disappeared. Seeing this, Fan Yu and the rest were shocked, and their eyes widened. Mo Qingyun's performance had greatly exceeded their expectations. We underestimated him. This guy's strength is not bad. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Fan Yu was shocked. She looked at Mo Qingyun with interest and said, "No wonder you dare to stay alone. But this strength is still not enough." Similar to Fan Yu, the other people beside her also revealed curious expressions. "This is more interesting. The battle ended too quickly. I didn't even have time to warm up." Mo Qingyun's strength surprised Gammo, but he quickly regained his composure. The way he saw it, Mo Qingyun's strength was merely a surprise to him. "My battle with you is not a warm-up for you." After neutralizing Gammo's palm shadow, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and rushed into the main hall. When Mo Qingyun rushed into the main hall, he released 2 layers of space law, shrouding Fan Yu and the others. Under the 2 layers of space law, Fan Yu and the others' movements were greatly restricted. After suppressing Fan Yu and the others' movements, Mo Qingyun rushed into the main hall and began to crazily loot everything. A short while later, Mo Qingyun collected all kinds of precious items into the Fortune mainland. Due to the urgency of the situation, Mo Qingyun also paid attention to what he was collecting. He only knew that the Li Kuan World Lord's collection was indeed meaningless, and all of them were very precious. Under Mo Qingyun's frantic looting, all the treasures in the main hall were taken away by Mo Qingyun. "Everyone, I'll be going first. Farewell." After emptying the main hall of treasures, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, flying out of the dark, broken Dragon Valley. Chapter 2854. Humph! You can't escape. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jia Mo snorted coldly and released his Great Path concept. A Great Path concept enveloped Mo Qingyun, causing his saint power to be greatly suppressed. At this moment, an invisible blocking force also acted on him. With such interference, Mo Qingyun's movement speed was greatly suppressed. Seeing that Jia Mo had released his Great Path concept to suppress Mo Qingyun's flying speed, Fan Yu and the others followed suit. Then, several Great Path concepts enveloped Mo Qingyun's body. Being enveloped by several Great Path concepts, Mo Qingyun's flying speed was once again suppressed. Slowly, Jia Mo and the others began to catch up to Mo Qingyun. Boy, let's see where you run to. Be a good boy and wait for your death. If you turn back now, it's not too late. I can spare your life. Seeing that they were getting closer and closer, Jia Mo and the others were pleased. They felt that with the current situation, they would soon catch up to Mo Qingyun. This can't go on. I have to think of a way to shake them off. Seeing that they were getting closer and closer, Mo Qingyun frowned and thought quickly. While Mo Qingyun was thinking, he also released 2 space laws to cause some trouble for them. However, with the previous lesson, the current Fan Yu and the others had all become more cautious. For Mo Qingyun to trap them again, the difficulty was truly too great. Fortunately, even though it couldn't trap them, it still caused them some trouble. Just like that, Mo Qingyun fought and ran all the way to a stalemate with Fan Yu and the others. I have an idea. After a while of running, Mo Qingyun had an idea, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Immediately, Mo Qingyun changed his direction and flew toward the underworld blood-dark rock cliff. He had caused the death of the Likuan realm lord. His relationship with Fan Yu and the others could be considered as mortal enemies. If they met, the scene would be very exciting. About 2 hours later, with Mo Qingyun frantically fleeing, he arrived at the underworld blood-dark rock cliff and searched for He's figure inside. Not long after, under Mo Qingyun's search, he saw He's figure. At this moment, he was using a secret technique to repair the taboo of the underworld blood-dark rock cliff. After discovering He's location, Mo Qingyun no longer thought about it and immediately flew over to him. Brat, you still dare to come? Looks like you're tired of living. Seeing Mo Qingyun approach, He's face immediately turned black, emitting a strong sense of fury. Perhaps because he was afraid of Gu Fan's corpse. Although he was very angry, he did not act rashly. Seeing He's performance, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled slightly, and he said with a cold smile, "Humph, last time you bullied me because you had more people. This time, I'll bring some people to play with you."